buddy. Not me showing up, like, at the very last second. I was like, oh, stream's in a couple hours. I'm gonna run some errands. And then I came in and I was like, oh no, it's 2 o'clock. I need to start. Whoops. Today, if I can get it to behave, which one of these is the right option? Or do I just do something different? That should work. Okay, cool. There we go. I'm gonna do drawing for the moment, but if it were requested, I also could switch over to good old-fashioned Minecraft because my friend has recently discovered Minecraft and has been like, what if we played Minecraft? And now I'm back in the I'm all what's the way to say this but that's not inappropriate. I'm back in the mines and it's very therapeutic to just sit there in creative mode and put blocks down and make it look cute. But that's neither here nor there. Happy Sunday. It's been like 2 weeks. I traveled more than I would like to, but I'm done with the traveling. We have officially decided we're not moving for at least a couple months. It's great. I think I don't have to go anywhere until November, and I'm really psyched about that. I have been so traveled out. But New York was a lot of fun. I went up for Anime NYC. That was delightful. I also had gone to, the following weekend, I had family fun for Labor Day, but now I'm home, and it's been fantastic. Cute Altaria drawing. Right! I really want to get back into doing Pokemon illustrations to hype up ZA. I'm really excited about ZA, man. They're bringing back all the things that I enjoy, like actually being able to customize your outfits, and all of my favorite Pokemon, and then they're gonna have megas. I'm hoping they announce more exciting megas, but we will see. We will see what happens. But I'm just happy to be home. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be calm, cool, collected, and just kind of getting life back to normal. I'm also catching up on a bunch of stuff. I went on a binging session because I remembered that Netflix exists. Like, there's this fun little ADHD thing that I do where I forget all these different things where I can get kinds of media exist. And then I remember, and then it becomes my personality for a week straight. So I have gotten back into remembering that Netflix exists, mostly because I've been wanting to watch the summer Hikaru died, and I'm completely caught up on that. But now, just to make things very inconsistent for what I enjoy watching, I have watched Pokemon Concierge. I have watched the second season of Wednesday. I watched the first one when it came out. And then I watched the My Melody and Kuromi show, which that was way better than I thought it would be. People sat there and pretended like that was bad. It was actually pretty good. Any opinion on the new megas? Anytime they do anybody Gen 1, save maybe Dragonite. I did like Dragonite. I take it back. I liked Dragonite. But then they were like, Victory Bell got a mega. I was like, why? I also play Pokemon Go, and I am really mad because right now they're like, you know what event we have coming up when we could do literally anything else? We're having the Kanto Appreciation event running. And I was like, I don't want to see Gen 1 ever again. I'm so sick of Gen 1. Dragonite's actually great. Dragonite feels weird that he didn't have one in the first place, if we're being so for reals. But I'm glad Dragonite got one. I'm hoping Flygon gets one. Like, Flygon I think is like the #1 pick, but I'm a real big fan of Gen 3, so I have my thing in for Flygon. Have you caught up on my Dress Up Darling? I don't know if I will. Like, I don't know if that series is necessarily for me, but I am aware of what happens in the manga. Like, I have some awareness of it because I have a lot of manga friends, and they tell me They tell me for the most part what happens. I will say, the person who did Alien Stage, which I believe her name was it Vivinos? She did the ending that's become like really popular at the moment and I was gonna say memed, but that's not the level of, I don't want it to be mean. It's trending right now, and people are remaking it, which is really cool too. I love seeing all these different series, because I think somebody did a Cardcaptor Sakura version of it that I thought was really, really cute. Because what is it? It's kawaii. the two words that sound very similar. At first I thought it was kawaii, which would be like cute, scary, but I think I forget what kawaii stands for. Or like not stands for. What does it mean? I'll just look it up. Kawaii. Neighborhood. That's not what I thought that word meant, but sure. Sorry, I gotta go take care of my little sisters. That's totally fine. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Oh, I love that I need a Precure version. There needs to be some motivated Japanese fan to make a Precure version, but I wouldn't even know which cure to do it with. Or, like, which group to do it. It'd have to be a group of 4. Cute, cute, basically. Well, that apparently means cute neighborhood. Because I was trying to figure out what the vibe was. I've heard Tenchi Kaiwai. I really like that, fashion style, because it's like the little... It's got the angel energy going on in it. And you know me, I like a little bit of an angel aesthetic. Mind you. Oh, but on that note, that does remind me. So, I debated making a review about it because I am, admittedly, not a Sanrio girly. I just kind of missed the boat on the Sanrio thing, and it just didn't ever, like, super duper appeal to me. Like, I had Hello Kitty when I grew up, but I didn't realize that Sanrio was a bigger thing until, like, I hit college. So I've, like, it was one of those things that looks way too aggressive. So I've known of things in Sanrio for the longest time, but I think the first time, I take that back. I would say that this was the first time My Melody Kurumi show is the first time I've seen a Sanrio show, but that's not true. I've seen Agretzko has been my one true entry into the Sanrio stuff. But like there's all the Sanrio Magical Girl series I've never seen before, because I think there's a My Melody one, and there's like Jewel Pets and stuff, and I've never watched it because I've been like, Sanrio, I feel like I'm too much of a fake fan to participate in stuff like that. But apparently like I watched it and it was actually pretty good. People were like, it's mid, and I was like, it was really, I really liked it. I like it because it's all the fun of the things that make up the characters, but it's not episodic. It had an overarching plot, which was really, really pleasing to me. And it dove into the characters, My Melody and Kurumi, and kind of had them start the way that their characters were originally made, which was to have to have one person who's antagonistic and one that's like that sort of oblivious but like cinnamon roll kind of character, with a lack of trying to do a pun there. But have the two of them like go from being just random people who are somewhat like at odds with one another, or at least one-sided at odds with one another, to like the two of them are actually besties. They're actually best friends in this like movement we've had, especially in Japan, where they've been like, we don't have enemies in children's media anymore. They're all best friends. Like even if they're a little rough with each other, they're still besties. And so it was very interesting to go from the beginning of the show where there's clearly that animosity there, and then by the end of it, Kurumi being like, My Melody's my best friend, and I'm like, oh, oh, that's cute. Oh, I have a sewing machine now. Let's go. What are we sewing first? What are we sewing first? What's on the docket first? We doing cosplay? We doing casual? What goes? What goes for that? But yeah, I really enjoyed the My Melody show. I also think the stop motion was really good for it, because usually with stop motion, they try to, like, obviously they're using, like, clay and other materials, but it looks as realistic as they can. I like for the My Melody Kunami show, they sat there and, like, for water, for example, all the water fountains, instead of, like, having splashes of water and trying to get, like, some kind of clear resin to look like water, they just used beads. And I thought that's so clever. It's so cute. Like, it's sitting there being all these different things that are trying to make up the environment that are clearly not those environmental objects. They have, like, cotton candy, but it's clearly, like, stuffing. And they're not trying to hide that it's not the actual object that it's supposed to be mirroring. And I like that a little bit more, I think, than traditional, or not traditional, but just, like, basic basic stop motion. Though to be fair, I mean, obviously stuff like Leica Studios, the stop motion is always really impressive, but I didn't really ever think about having such a creative attempt at doing stop motion. And also, as somebody who also just caught up with Pokemon Concierge, I'm impressed that this show was as long as it was and complete because with Pokemon Concierge, I love that series a bit. It's such a pleasure show to watch, like comfort show, but it's so short. It's so short. Like when they were like new season, I was like, I'm so excited for a new season of Pokemon Concierge, but in reality, it's just the next 4 episodes, and they had 4 episodes before, and I was like, so it's just more of season 1 a year later, which I don't mind that it takes them forever for production, but I would rather they just have released all of season 1 together and it come out when it come out. But it is what it is. I know that stop motion is one of the most taxing ways to animate. Oh, speaking of animation, because it's the first time I've done a live stream with this one, I have my new. No, I take it back. We did do an Infinity Nikki stream with her, but this is the first Sunday that I've sat here and been like, look, it's my new talking. I'd say PNG tuber, but she's technically a GIF. She's technically a GIF. She moves. I don't know if I love her as much as the last one. I might redo some elements of her, but she does the job now for something that ended up being kind of a hack job. But we are back on schedule. Though I guess I could do a little bit of catch up for the things that happened while I was gone, and then trying to catch up with what happened with all of you guys, because it's been 2 weeks, it's been a minute. We've had new Precure episodes, we've had a lot of new stuff happening. Hi, what did I miss? We are just starting. We're just playing catch up. I gabbed a little bit about Netflix series I've been watching. I'm playing catch up with Netflix. And then now I think I'm going to talk a little bit about my travel stuff and then hear from you guys. Hear how everybody's potential fall is going, depending on what region you're in. I noticed in the review that's new. Yeah. I have her in the new review. I very nonchalantly added her to the review. See if anybody bothers to notice. But yeah, I was like, I'm so finicky about promoting my reviews because I was kind of negative in today's review, so I'm like really hesitant to post it on socials being like, I did a review this week, because I'm like, people do not like it when I'm negative, but I also have to speak my truth. I also have to be speaking my truth when it comes to how I feel about these episodes. But for the most part, it's been going well. I feel like at this point, I'm happy that for the most part, the audience I've curated kind of at least gets where I'm coming from, even if they don't necessarily agree with how I'm feeling in my reviews, which is vastly appreciated. But yeah, in terms of travel, I went to New York. That was a lot of fun. I managed to, at the last second, convince a friend to come with me so I didn't have to go alone, at least for the like multiple hours it takes for me to get to New York. And I went to the anime convention. I was so happy because I met up with a friend who he's really into magical girls, and I got to know him after I left New York. And it was really funny when I up with him in the convention because in I don't know if it's an American convention thing or East Coast conventions. Let me know if you've seen this at other ones. There's always this one booth that's like a giant cage, and in it is just like a lot of idol stuff. Like they've got predominantly like can badges and like keychains and stuff for really like obscure idol groups and idol anime. And then they also occasionally will have magical girl stuff kind of like thrown in there as well. It's really it's unique. It's unique what they have in there. But they'll have like also the wall will be like art books, CDs, games, and then vinyls. And I saw him on the outside of the cage and I like ran up and I was like, hi, and he was like, oh, and like ran grabbed onto the cage like free him. But the funniest part was that we have a couple of other friends in the group. The other two people in our friend group were in that cage, and then they saw him screaming at me, and then they started screaming at him because they're like, I didn't know you were in here. And I was like, we're all in the cage. We're all in this like magical girly idol cage, and no one knew. No one noticed that we were all in here. None of us saw that. It was funny, but also we probably were very irritating because we were screeching a lot. But to be fair, it's also very loud and you can barely hear anything anyways. But I was very excited to meet up with other magical girl friends in real life. But yeah, I just need to measure myself, buy materials to start my cosplay. Oh, let's go! Cosplay time! I love people who are getting into cosplay. Do you know any YouTube videos that you used to watch before it became lost media? Oh. I have to think about what's like lost media that I watched, because I'm sure I've unfortunately watched a lot of YouTubers who later down the line got canceled, which has been incredibly upsetting. Like, I think one of the first people I watched was Tobuscus, and he did something weird. I'm too scared to look up whatever he did. I just, like, fell off from watching him, and he did something bad. I watched Cry, and then he did something bad. And so I don't know if those YouTube channels still exist for those people. That might be lost media, but I think it's for the better, if we're being completely honest. I'm trying to think about stuff that's lost media in YouTube, in the YouTube realm. I think there's a lot of Nightcore videos I've watched that probably got copyrighted. They probably got copywritten. And they got struck into oblivion, and they don't exist anymore. I think the OG video that got me into Magical Girls doesn't exist anymore, because I've tried to find the specific God is a Girl, Magical Girl AMV from like 16, 17 years ago. I have not found the one that I had, because I know very specifically which anime were in it, because I watched them in order from how they showed up in that video, and that's how I like really went down the Magical Girl rabbit hole. But that I think is lost to time. But I don't think there's any like really big YouTube videos that have been lost media. I've experienced things that inevitably probably turned into lost media. Like I went to the Precure Virtual Live, or I participated in that, and I'm sure there's aspects of that like, they got rid of the VR chat world and everything. So that's gone to the void. But that was a fun experience. I don't know. Lost media is kind of interesting. I think there's a lot of childhood TV shows I had that turned into lost media. I don't remember if I talked about it on stream or not, but there was what was it? JoJo's Circus was one that I think was a claymation-y-esque. I think it was technically 3D animated, but it looked like claymation back in the day. And that show, I think somebody stated the other day that that's completely lost media now, which I always find kind of funny, because the only thing I remember about that was that there was an episode where she was like, I'm allergic to raspberries, and then like ate them anyways and then got really sick. And I was like, I've never had a raspberry before. And then I had a raspberry and I was like, I'm allergic to raspberries. And that's like my only memory from that show, is that it taught me that I was allergic to raspberries. I don't think that was the lesson of the episode, but that's the lesson I learned. But now that's lost media. I can't prove that anymore. Lost media is always very interesting. But shout out to the people who like at least try to preserve stuff, despite the internet constantly, or really IP holders constantly trying to be like, let it die. There's one MLP animation channel ironically called Unknown, and they made their own adaptations of Cupcakes and Rocket to Insanity, and it's scared even though it was MS Paint and Windows Movie Maker. There was a lot of interesting, like, the only thing I remember, what was the name of it? There was one infamous channel that did, like, really, really high quality MLP, like, edits and songs, but it was, like, super cursed. It was like really cursed music videos. I don't know if that's gone or if that's still kicking, but it might be. Well, your drawing is looking good. Thank you, Marcos. Welcome in. How are you today? Oh, I do have other updates that I can update people on, since, again, trying not to, like, accidentally keep you guys in the dark. So, I have been trying to get an item for the 10K YouTube giveaway, because I feel like for the bigger milestones I'd like to do giveaways. And I got it in. However, if I were to do the giveaway now, it would have to be America only, just because of the tariffs. Like, I love you guys, but I do not want to spend $100+ to ship a singular item that I've already spent money on. So if people are chill with it, I probably will hold off on doing the 10K giveaway until the tariffs are obliterated. And then other note and other update for you guys as to why I have still not done my pre-Orca review is because I'm also trying to do a giveaway for that. That one I'm going to do the Ripple Bell, the Ripple Jewel Bell, as the giveaway item. However, that is still stuck in Japan, and I won't be able to get that until customs, so I'm debating holding off on doing the review until the tariffs are gone, or like posting the review, because it's right now recorded, it needs to be edited. I'm doing good. How are you? I'm doing good. I've said it like 1,000 times in a bunch of different places, but I'm like, I don't like to travel because I have really bad motion sickness and I get really exhausted from travel. And this has been one of the most traveled summers I've ever had. However, I have set it up so that I am not traveling for at least 2 months straight. And I'm very excited about not moving anywhere. So I'm very happy because I've been home and I've been able to like get back into my rhythm of things and I don't have to constantly be like, I need to pack. I need to pack and I need to get ready and I need to prep everything for me being absent, but I don't have to do that because I am home and I am really enjoying the quality time being back in town. The titles were My Little Pony Cupcakes is real, My Little Pony Rocket to Insanity is real, and the reason why the title is because they're meant to show the length. Interesting. Is that the one? I know there's a cursed like horror cupcake thing for My Little Pony. I don't know if it's that, and I don't know if I'm going down the dark path trying to bring that topic up. I know like vaguely that there's one like really cursed. Again, there's a lot of cursed MLP videos that I know too much about, more than I know the actual show. Yeah, I'm fine with that. It gives me time to look for a house and live on my own so I can do it. Such a mood. Okay, yeah, I probably will just hold off on the giveaways until the tariffs leave, which will be allegedly, if everything goes, cross our fingers, the tariff should be gone mid-October. So we're like a month away from that. I have a question for you. If you wanted to in the future, would you make your own Magical Girl series? Sorry, I've just been wanting to see this for a long time. Yeah, I have I really want to do a Magical Girl series comic, but I think I'm having a really hard time picking what art style I'd like to do because I, for the longest time, did not settle on an art style. Like, even here, I'm not doing my normal kind of panty and stocking-esque style. I'm doing a Pokemon style here for this because I just didn't like doing the panty and stocking style for Pokemon. But, I would have to settle on a style and get good enough consistently at doing it to a point because I am my own worst critic. I'm very picky about my own art and I usually hate just about everything I make. But I would love to do a comic because I have a story, which I could also write it. I don't know if I think I didn't talk about it because I think it happened on the trip. I learned a lot about Wattpad on my vacation for the weirdest reasons. But I was like, I didn't know you could write original stuff on Wattpad. I thought you had to write only fan fiction. And I was like, I could just write the entirety of the series and then comic it later if I want to do that. Because I do have technically a story thought out in my head. And I just need to not be lazy and put it written down somewhere. I could do that. But yeah, I have an interest in writing an original story. I have thought of a fan original story for Precure that I haven't fully fleshed out yet, and then I've got a original series that I could do. I just have to decide if I want to spend my time doing that kind of stuff. Speaking of arts, I went back to draw dinosaurs again by hand. That's a tough one. They've got funny little anatomy. I just revealed one, but I will reveal more on Instagram and Blue Sky. Oh, I will look into that. That sounds cool. Oh, is it Altaria Pokemon? Yeah. I'm doing Altaria because she's my favorite. What happened to my mouth? When did that happen? Get that out of there. I'm like, what happened to my mouth? This is what happens when my hand sits on the iPad and it goes all willy-nilly. Alright, we're just gonna have to really fix that. Yeah, Altaria is like my favorite Pokemon. Part of my OG team. It was funny too because the first Altaria I ever got, because I couldn't figure out why my Swablu would not evolve, because she evolves at like level 40 or something. 40 or 50, like a late level to evolve. I was like, I can't get my Swablu to evolve. So I was in the tower in Gen 3 Sapphire. The tower at which you have to get Rayquaza, and before I got to the top to get Rayquaza, I ran into an Altaria and I used the Master Ball on the Altaria instead of Rayquaza because I was like, oh, an Altaria! I got so excited. She's absolutely my favorite. I'll be off as I'm due to play some games with my friends. Alright, see you later, Ben. Have a good day. I love Pokemon. I'm looking forward to ZA. I'm so excited for ZA. I really liked Arceus. I didn't think I was gonna like Arceus as much as I liked Arceus, but I'm pretty hyped to have um something similar-ish to Arceus. I don't know if I love the battle in real time, but at the same time I just like the battles are like the least thing I care about in those games. I just like going around and catching the Pokemon and building a team and making them strong and then ignoring the meta. I'm that kind of Pokemon trainer. There was time during the 4th generation that I wanted to be the gym leader of a prehistoric Pokemon. That would be such a cool team. That would be a pretty cool team, I'm not gonna lie. I like that theme. My favorite Pokemon types are Dragon and Steel, and in ZA, I will be able to choose Totodile. What about you? Everybody's a Chikorita hater, but I've been here for my girl Chikorita since day one. I love Chikorita to bits. She's absolutely always been one of the prettiest ones in the game. Is so beautiful. So I'm gonna get my little plant Pokemon. Oh, that's the other thing that I'm debating with whether or not I want to film it or if I'm just gonna do it. Is I have been, what's the word? Influenced. I have been influenced because I watched a singular video where a guy was like, you can own carnivorous plants. And I was like, I can own carnivorous plants. And he showed you how to do it in the video, and I was like, I will now own carnivorous plants. So I ordered some carnivorous plants, and I've ordered the materials for a terrarium. And I have all of these really old, not really old, but I have all these grass type remint, the remint line, which is that like tiny figure line that usually has like set pieces. And I got the grass type one, and I'm gonna put it in my terrarium. I'm gonna have my little grass type themed terrarium with all of my carnivorous plants. I'm really excited to make it. That's one of the reasons why I was out before stream, was I went out to buy perlite for my carnivorous plants so that they will stay well drained. That's my silly little thing. Do. I'm one of the people who really enjoyed and loved Legends Arceus. Word. I take it back. Is it called They gave us the proper name for it. I think they say it's Arceus, but I say wrong. I'm gonna keep pronouncing it Arceus. Pokemon has been so sassy lately because they've been like, this is how things are pronounced. And to be fair, I've always pronounced it, I think I've always pronounced it Rayquaza, which I think is the proper way to pronounce it. So I got lucky there. But it's always been Arceus to me. You can't tell, like, you want it to be pronounced Arceus, then you gotta stick a K in there instead of a C. You're not following the linguistic rules. You guys don't even have C's in Japanese, so why did that name get wrong? Why do name wrong? I'm gonna make my own, but it's going to be a Gacha Life 2 Magical Girl series. What is Gacha Life? Is that a game? I don't know if I've ever heard of that before. And it's gonna be called Magical Girl Starlight and the Crystal Spirits. Ooh, I like that name. That's a fancy name. I like that. So that's the name of my Magical Girl series. I have made characters, but I haven't decided if I'm going to do it yet. I feel that. It's so fun to, like, come up with series, but then you're like, no, I gotta commit. I gotta do something with it. It's fun just to, like, dump ideas in your head, spend a day just musing over things that could be stories and come up with characters and stuff. I think it's just a fun practice to do a little mental creative writing. Carnivorous plants, wow. They're so fun! I've always sat there and been like, oh, a little Venus flytrap. Such a silly little guy. I love a little Venus flytrap up in here. Though apparently that's the hardest one. Last that I was at both Glitter Force and Glitter Force Doki Doki can be viewed on it. Oh, that's right! Glitter Force was one of the ones that was going to be, lost media. I do remember hearing about that. That was kind of a bummer. Though I'm sure people have saved that, but as long as it can be viewed on the Internet Archives, that's good. My sister said to me that I like terrifying or monster-like Pokemon while she likes the pretty powerful or awesome Pokemon like Meganium, Espeon, Noctowl, and Gyarados. Ooh, that's a fun team. I haven't seen a lot of love for Noctowl. despite that one being cool. Da 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 da. But yeah. Oh, back to my Venus flytrap drama. So, uh, in learning to care for carnivorous plants, one of the things that I learned was that they need to have like really pure water. You have to get like distilled water or rainwater for them. And I was like, oh, okay, so they're just kind of like finicky plants. That's all good. That's all good. I've always been under the impression that things like carnivorous plants and whatnot are like tropical, and most of them are. But then there was the reveal. Then there was the little reveal where they're like, oh yeah, Venus flytraps are from like South Carolina. And I was like, excuse me? They're like, yeah, they're kind of like coastal plants from South Carolina. That's not insanely far from me as somebody who grew up on the East Coast. I'm like, what do you mean? And then they're like, yeah, but Venus flytraps can't handle your water. Your water is too spicy for Venus flytrap. And I was like, I'm not that far from South Carolina. I'm on the East Coast. Like, what do you mean my water's too spicy for the Venus flytrap, the apparently American plant? Like every time there's a cool looking plant, I just assume it's not from America. But leave it to be the Venus flytrap is an American plant that is deadly. Or not deadly, but is one of like the poster child for aggressive plants. Though for the most part they're not that aggressive. You can stick your finger in a flytrap and nothing happens. Other than you make the plant sad because it has to use all of its energy to try to snap on you. And then it's like, I wasted all that energy for what? You made me do what? I'll now die. Like, they're apparently super easy to kill, and it really bums me out. I agree with my big sister. I like Tyranitar, Feraligatr, and Hydreigon. I see that's what I like about Pokemon is I feel like there's that whole sentiment that there's a Pokemon for everybody. There's a Pokemon for every single person, and every single Pokemon is loved by someone. Some might God like all the big dragony ones, but they're also fun. I think there's an appeal to it. I do like the soft, globby one, or not the soft. The cute, globby Pokemon are like my favorite. Like Sliggoo. I like Sliggoo. She cute. I also feel like when people are like, what's your favorite type? I typically, my favorite types are flying types and fairy types. But like, I'm not gonna lie, every other Pokemon that I enjoy are I like grass types. I feel so basic saying I like grass types, but I'm like, I do enjoy a good grass type. Imagine an alternate universe where Ocean Studios still dubs Precure since they did the Futari one from 2009, and they would dub Healing Good right now. Is Ocean's studio still alive? That was a Canadian studio, right? Are they still around? I feel like stuff just doesn't live very long. Now that you mentioned it, I've seen a pet carnivorous plant in a friend's house once upon a time. They're fun! They're cute! There's one that I need to remember the name of that's, it looks like a little flower, but it eats all the bugs in your house. And I'm like, I do be getting gnats every so often. It could eat all of my little gnats. Though when I lived in Georgia at one point, I had a lot of fruit flies, and I would have loved to have a carnivorous plant eat all of my fruit flies. Back when I lived somewhere closer to South Carolina and their fancy Venus flytraps, apparently. I just, feels so lied to. I don't know if I wanted to put that line there. I think I didn't draw this as well as airtight as I wanted to. I find them scary but still impressive. They're pretty chill. Like, for the most part, most carnivorous plants don't actually hurt people. They just, like, they do what the Pokemon do. They leave a nice, sweet scent for all the bugs, and the bugs are like, oh my god, I'm gonna go touch that. And then they get got. And the plant's like, gotcha. But the other thing is the plants don't even need to eat the bugs. They don't even need the bugs. They're like, we just need water, like other plants do. We just feel like being a little bit special in controlling the bug population. Because I assume that carnivorous plants simply exist because the places they live are so bug-ridden that the plant had to be like, listen, I don't have beef with bugs, and I don't need to eat the bugs, but I'm gonna eat the bugs because the bugs keep eating me. I assume that, like, a lot of the swampy areas have such high bug densities that the plants are like, we're gonna fight back, actually. We're actually gonna make this a problem. Where I'm at, we have mosquitoes, so I would like a plant to eat them. Exactly, exactly. I think I have like one fly that got stuck in my apartment, and it's like slowing down because it hasn't had food or water, because I'm not gonna give it that. And I'm like, when the time comes, I'm gonna get that bug, I'm gonna catch it, and then I'm gonna feed it to a Venus flytrap. Because that's what we gotta do sometimes. I also just want to see the plant eat it. I want to see a plant eat a bug. It feels like revenge. It feels like revenge on the smallest scale, but I'm like, you were annoying, and now you will perish. I love Scyther and Caesar. Dude, I had such a fondness for Scyther. I feel like I was not ready for Caesar when he came, but you know, we let him be. I love Scyther though. Scyther felt like such a like classic Pokemon to me. Gen 1 makes good decisions sometimes. Me and my one-sided beef with Gen 1. Oh, though, speaking of animals, so one of these streams I talked about the bird that got in my house. That was living in the pinata that I have on my door. It's technically a pinata, but I use it as like a door decoration. And it kept nesting there. And I was like, so I got a bird on my place, you know? You think that there would be some positives, other than it flying in my apartment, and I don't want it to be in my apartment, but then it left. I was like, I felt like the positives of having a bird be all up in my porch business would be that it would eat the bugs there. Not the case, because I've always had this one spider that's grown on my mailbox. And it's mostly I've left that spider alone because I believe deep down if I leave that spider on my mailbox, they'll stop giving me letters. I hate getting physical mail. I hate it so much. I'm passionately hate getting physical mail, and I've never gotten physical mail that's worth anything. It's always been like the previous tenant's mail, or it's been like, do you want these coupons? And I'll be like, no, I don't want these coupons. Or it'll be like, do you want to register to vote? And I'm like, girl, I've registered to vote many moons ago. Please stop telling me to register to vote. I have done it. I do my due diligence. Please stop mailing me. You know I'm registered to vote because I live here. I think again it must be for the previous residents who were not registered to vote, but like God, I'm like please stop sending me mail. So I've left the spider on my I let him put a web all over my mailbox in hopes of deterring the mailman. It has not deterred the mailman, but God, I sure wish it did. Surely I'll have a cowardly mailman who won't give me letters anymore because there's a big old spider there. What are your phobias? Mine is arachnophobia. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's Teslaphobia. I have a mild phobia that I've been working on of deep water. It's mostly deep, dark water. I used to have so many nightmares as a kid. Despite being a big ocean lover and loving water and stuff, I do go into fetal position when I get to water that's too deep and dark. I'm working on it though. Speaking of Precure dubs, I wish there was a Heart Catch one and Go Princess. Absolutely. Those two seasons 100% deserve a dub. In the past, I was angry that Pokemon Blue didn't have Scyther but Magmar. And then my sis and I made a deal to trade them with the. Oh, that's so sweet. Back in the day, doing the cable connection. Well, I hate spiders, but I admit they're interesting creatures. But I try to do deal with them nowadays. However, my sis is scared to death of spiders. She is truly an arachnophobe. That's so fair. So, continuing my spider story and my bird story of all the creatures that have now formed around my apartment. Mind you, not anybody else's apartment, just mine. Just mine has an unmitigated amount of creatures hanging out, including my neighbor's dogs that also seem to show up at my place for some reason. But the newest thing that has made its addition to it is on the other side of my porch, there is now a massive spider web with a spider that's like black and yellow. And I was like, that thing's real big. It's massive. And we just had a really bad storm and I was like, oh, I guess it's gone. Nope, the spider web made it and the spider's still there. And it's huge. And then I asked Siri what it was and she said that it's the biggest spider you can have on the East Coast. And I was like, that's so great. I love that I have a really big spider that I don't want sitting there. So now every time I leave my apartment, I get to stare at the spider out my door. And it makes me feel things. It makes me feel a lot of nervous. It makes me feel a lot of scared. And I'm just like, don't touch me. And my friends are like, you just need to whack the spiders away. And I'm like, I'm too scared to do that. They'll touch me. They'll touch me because that's exactly what's going to happen with these big spiders. I'll be touched and then I'll die. I think the one that's on my mailbox might be a Black Widow because it's black and it's really like a smooth black. And I feel like that's a Black Widow. Another reason why I'm not messing with her. She can just sit there. You can scare away the mailman. You can poison the mailman to death. I don't want to touch you. You're your own business. Technically speaking, I think my apartment people are supposed to clean off the porches anyways. That's their business. They don't do it, so the spider persists. My male deterrent spider that's not doing its job. But I'm also like, again, I have a bird that nests up here. Why is she not eating everybody? Like, I'm sitting here with all the Disney princess animals with apparently the Disney princess energy because they're not eating each other. What happened to the circle of life? Why is everybody just like, we live in harmony on your front porch against your will? It's awful. It's been so miserable. I'm like, is there any other tenants moving in? Actually, there were. I looked in the corner, and there's like two tubby things up in the corner of my porch ceiling thing. And I'm like, I swear to God, if that's a wasp nest forming, I'm gonna lose it. It's either wasps or hornet. And I'm like, I know I gotta knock that thing down, but maybe my big spider that I have now, my pet big spider, will knock them off, but she's not doing anything. I don't know why they're all living in harmony. It's really throwing me for a loop. Have you seen the Cure Idol power up? The Cure Idol turning red. It seems okay, but I wish they did better. I hope later in the season they'll make an actual power for the series. Dude, I wish so bad that they would do a power, but I know dang well they're not going to. I know that this is what we're gonna get. I like the Idol God style. The other one whose title I constantly forget is okay. I think the only thing I hate about it is the yellow. The yellow's kind of weird. You remember on my last outfit review for Precure where I was like, they always sneak in that one yellow over and over again? That's that yellow. She's come back. She's haunting us. It's always that one yellow. She's more like Cure Idol Watermelon. Dude, if they stuck more green in there, she would look like a watermelon. I might do an edit. I'll share something unfunny to you all here. When I was little, I was scared of butterflies. When I saw one behind a tree or something, somebody ran from them. Sounds ridiculous. I feel like butterflies are absolutely that creature that if you see them up close, they look scary. They're like ants, where it's like, you're like, tee hee, haha, an ant, and then you like see an ant's face, and it's like one of the most horrific things. It looks like a saw. It's terrible. Ants are awful. Butterflies, I think, are also look really creepy when you get to see their actual for real's face. While on the other hand, if you see a tarantula's face, it's really cute. They got the big old animu eyeballs. I think tarantulas are surprisingly cute, but then if you look at them from afar, they're absolutely terrifying. Especially, this is such a random tangent. There was one point where people kept doing gifs of the tarantulas who would like they would like brush their little hands against each other, and then people would do a little edit where it gave them bongos, and I I really liked that. Just look up gifs of tarantulas playing bongos, and it will change you. It will radicalize you to actually like tarantulas. My big sis told me many times not to be scared of butterflies, but it took me a while to get rid of the fear. Sorry, butterfly. That's fair. That's fair. I feel like again, if you can be scared of butterflies, they can be a little funky monkey. I think moths were one that I was like, it's a butterfly, and I'm like, no, it's an aggressive butterfly. I don't think I liked moths when I was little. I had to gain appreciation for them. So I can relate to anybody or any character who's afraid of them. I feel like that'd be cool if you had a character who was terrified of butterflies. But I also like series. I'm trying to remember what it was. There was some video game where you could use like butterflies to like kill people. Or no, it was a manhwa. I think it was one of the manhwas where like a villainous manhwa where she controlled butterflies and she would use them to like eat people and dissolve them. I think they were like they were called like in the series like blood butterflies or something. It was pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, whoa, that's actually a pretty cool power. I think it was Roxana was the name of that one, but don't quote me on that. I think I recommend surrounding your house with mint leaves or something, because I heard mint can make spiders go away. That's true. Bugs don't like a lot of different types of mint, as well as, I guess, a arachnid in the case of a spider. Because people are always like, use peppermint stuff. I would if I could. I might put like a pot of spearmint out in the front or something like that, because I can't really plant anything where I am. They don't let me plant plants, which has been my downfall right now. I've been house planting it up aggressively because I can't do any indoor plants. Or I can't do outdoor plants. I can't plant. So there's that. But that's not a bad idea. There's definitely something I could do to try to just like make them leave on their own. Like deter them from my porch because girl, they really do be liking my porch specifically and no one else's. Da 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 da. When I was young, after watching Heartcatch on YouTube around 2011, 2012, I later watched the Vitaliwa dub. And in my dub frame, I thought they were different seasons because the title is spelled part one. That's funny. That's funny. Oh yeah, I was bitten by some ants. It does hurt. I thought butterflies could bite people in the past. That's valid. That's valid. And some ants just be aggressive. They don't have to be like that, but they choose to. Da-da-da. And when I watched an AMV of all Precures up until Sweet, when I saw it, I thought it was a crossover thing. I do not know how to fast forward to. Okay, wait. I'm gonna look at this again. I realize that these are parts of the conversation. I'm gonna try to read this all. When I was young, after watching Heartcatch on YouTube around 2011, I watched Futaliwa dub. In my dumb kid brain, I thought they were different seasons because the title is spelled differently. And then I watched an AMV of all Precures up until Sweet, and when I saw it, I thought it was a crossover thing that I don't know. Now, fast forward to high school, I was on Netflix and I watched Glitter Force, and I decided to watch some people review it, and imagine my reaction when I realized it was part of the franchise. Oh, okay, I got you now. Do-do-do. I hate hearing bees around me. I always get scared thinking they're coming after me like wasps are the ones that are more aggressive. Yeah, I don't like the buzzing of any of them. I have been fortunate enough to never be stung by a bee, but I've absolutely been stung by a wasp and a hornet, and I don't like either of those guys. I don't need to add to my list of aggressive animal torment. I'm still having trouble choosing my team in ZA before it comes out. I'll check again to the full list arrive. So far, I want to have for Alligator. Yeah, that's fair. My thing about ZA is I hope it doesn't do the thing that XY did, where any of the like decent usage for the Pokemon come out post game. Like I wanted the entire time to have Mega Gardevoir because I knew Mega Gardevoir was in the game. You can't get Mega Gardevoir until post game, and I'm like, at that point, I'm not playing the game anymore. It's so useless. So I do hope that, and I imagine they would, sooner or later you can actually get the Mega Pokemon. Because obviously I'm gonna go for Mega Gardevoir, Mega Altaria. I'm probably gonna have Sylvia on my team for the 18,000th time. I know she's probably not going to be in the game, but another one that I really like is Delcatty. I'm a huge Delcatty fan. I think she deserves more love. And then I have to think who else is going to be in the game that's worth my time. Obviously, Meganium as my chosen lead character, lead Pokemon. I'm scared of heights, but I don't have vertigo. I talked about this with my dad recently. I was scared of the dark in the past, but sometimes I make a growl or roar in my room and make me feel stronger and scarier. Aw, that's sweet. We all have something or someone that scares us. And I've learned that we should admit our fears and learn how to deal with them or even get over them. It's not easy, but not impossible either. So true. So insanely true. It was a funny story. I think it was a funny story, Alexis. Yeah, YouTube and their word limits do make things a little bit harder. Gardevoir is so good and beautiful. She's so insanely pretty. I'm such a Gardevoir stan. Welcome in, Cheeky Pika. How are you today? I love the emo person. Oh my god, this drawing is so cute. Thank you. I've been trying to sit here and do Pokemon illustrations for a hot minute, and I've been consistently too lazy. I just realized I don't have the colors for Altaria. I'll have to grab that in a minute. I'll probably just do the main outline for now. I feel like we should have like a winter theme pre-cure. I know we have a lot of seasons that are spring and flower cures, but we should have something different besides just flowers. I agree. I feel like because we've got a summer one with Tropical Rouge, and we've had definitely a lot of spring themed ones. I'd like Go Princess and Heartcatcher are definitely in that category. I'm trying to think if we've really had a fall-esque one. I'm trying to think if anything's been like we haven't really had like spooky precure. I guess you could if you really wanted to stretch it, you could say Star Twinkle with the whole like alien thing is a little bit more like spooky, quirky kind of stuff. Like if we had to stick seasons in seasonal art, yeah, seasons of Precure in seasonal categories, what would you stick them in? Like Splash Star would be like another spring one in my opinion. Maybe I put like Futaliwa since it's such a beginning one in fall, but then again in the beginning of school year in fall. For the beginning of the school year for Japan is in spring. But that one always makes me feel like go back to school energy. I think we already have some seasons with the flower theme, and I feel like we should have different animals besides just a lot of bunny fairies. I really wanted something like bears are there. Oh my god, that'd be cute. Like we have Muffadoon, and they did a really good job with having a bear themed. I wouldn't mind like a little bear one. I also liked when we did things like ferrets and stuff for God, what's his name? The one with is it Tart? The one with chiffon? It's been a minute since I've seen Fresh. I feel like I would aim for winter because wanting something like that related to ice, but I don't know when the last time we had something like an ice cure. Because the first ice cure I think of is Cure Beauty, but that's been a hot minute, hot minute. We've had you could argue Cure Diamond is ice themed. I have to mentally go through everybody. Because we didn't. I'd have to think for a second. I'm doing good. Hope you are too. I'm glad to hear you're doing good. You're right. Winter themed is a good new idea for Precure. So I'm probably gonna do it again for my winter theme for my OC for stream and stuff. It's probably going to go again for winter. I like the idea of doing ballet for winter, but I doubt they would do a ballet themed season just right after we had an idol themed season. But I genuinely like I don't know, Princess Tutu is such a like winter vibe show for me despite it not being like that. I don't know, something about well in general, I think the reason why I always think about ballet with winter is because my sister did professional ballet a bit when we were younger and she would always be in the Nutcracker and the Nutcracker always performs in the dead of winter like right around Christmas. Da, 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 da. Precure from the northern parts of Japan where it snows. Yeah, I mean, like we got like we had Nyami's backstory where she was from that one town in I think it was at Shirakogo in Japan. That's like it's that one northern town that's the inspiration for vastly different show. Higurashi no Nakakoro ni that town that was the inspiration for Hinamizawa. I was like, we could have been there. Why did we move Nyami out of there? It'd be nice to have a winter one. I feel like surely they would do winter eventually. I mean, they've teased the idea with the Tropical Rouge movie by being like, here's a winter town. It'd be fun if they had a winter themed one. I also think it'd be cool because I don't know much about like I feel like I know a lot about Okinawa and Japan's sort of perspective on tropical stuff, but I don't really know what Japan's sort of winter life is like, other than they have really cool onsen, which I really, really want to go. If I ever go back to Japan, it's going to be a trip where I just visit onsen. I just want to feel the heat of an onsen. I want to go to like every other city and be like, let's go check out their onsen. Da, da, da. I said that once, I'll say it again. I really hope for a dinosaur. I still think a dinosaur themed Precure would be really good. I mean, there's no reason they can't. I think we just have to get to a point in society where, like, it's cool and girly pop to like dinosaurs. Like, you know how they've been, like, changing, like, spooky stuff has been getting girlified? Oh, Pin, don't run out of power, please. But, like, when they did, like, Monster High and stuff, they're like, spooky stuff, but it's, like, girly pop now. We need to do that with dinosaurs. We need to do that with, like, science stuff again. And then that will inspire this kind of stuff to happen. Japan has dinosaur fossils, especially the Kitadani Formation and the Fukuisaurus. Interesting. I didn't know much about Japan's dinosaur history. That would actually be kind of fun. Also, people in Japan like dinosaurs there too. Of course, of course. Why not have a dinosaur themed one? Onegaishimasu. I feel like they did, and winter themed, I think we would have activities like skating, ballet, focusing on Arctic life. And I think the real villain would be climate change. I'm scared for them to do climate change as a villain again because Otana was something. Otana was something or another. It'd be funny though if they had like fire themed villains in a winter themed season where they're like, I don't know, antagonist volcano man or something like that. That'd be kind of interesting. Who's trying to like erupt a volcano that will destroy the town or something. I feel like if they did a winter themed one, I think they would. Yeah. Okay, did read that. If you were a Pokemon trainer, you could be a Pokemon coordinator and going into Pokemon contests and regions like Maydon and Serena. I wish, dude. I love the idea of a coordinator from the TV series back when I watched like Diamond and Pearl and stuff like that back in the day. Dude, I'm so bad at Pokemon contests in the game. It's really embarrassing. I struggled so hard. Like you people do not understand that back in the day, getting a Feebas was like the worst, like a task I would not wish upon my worst enemy. Getting a Feebas in the first place was nigh impossible. And then on top of that, once you have a Feebas, evolving it into a Milotic back in the day was also a fate I would not wish upon my worst enemy. It's so unnecessarily hard. And I just like, oh my god. Why is my campus not working? Oh, reference. Nope. Don't do my face. Thank god I disabled that. Alright, we're just gonna stick with the reference because it doesn't want to fix itself. Oh my god. Do. I have to one day visit Japan. I have Japanese blood in my veins. My family and my big sis managed to go there, which gives me hope to visit. Oh my god, I highly recommend it. Going to Japan is not as like impossible as one would think. I like when I was a kid, I was like, I'll never be able to go to Japan. That's something that only happens in miracles and stuff, and you're like you have to be a bajillionaire to go to Japan. It's actually way more feasible to go to Japan. You just have to save up for the plane ticket, but like actually getting there and hotels and stuff aren't insanely expensive, and you can definitely do a very like you can have a really good experience and go on a budget. And I think Japan's really good about having activities and places you can go that don't require you to spend a lot of money. I definitely recommend it. But if you're like me and you get motion sickness, plan to go for a really long time. Plan to go for like more than 2 weeks because any shorter you will regret everything. But I also live on the opposite side of the planet from Japan, so I have arguably the worst experience getting over there. Do. Cure Polar, Cure Aurora. I'd love a Cure Aurora would be cute. Cure Boreal. Cure Arctic. Cure Penguin. Oh my god, Peggy Ton would like to have a conversation. To be honest, I wish they brought the trend of Precure having their own fairies back. Yeah, I do like them having their own fairies. Delicious Party was kind of sweet in that regard. At first, I suffered in Pokemon contests until I finally got the hang of it, and I choose the best Pokemon and show off their moves. I think I was just really young when I did it, and I should have just had the patience to figure out how the contests work. I just always had the worst luck, and I'm also gonna be so for real. Gen 3 was hard. There was no reason for it to be that hard. Like, even as an adult looking back on it, I'm like, Pokemon games are easy now, but they're actually easy because the games were, like, unnecessarily impossible back. Like, we had to learn Braille back in the day. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know what it's like to have to learn Braille in order to get a Regirock. It was crazy. Especially Milotic. Milotic, she had no business being that hard. Like, I get she's pretty, and I get she's pretty rare, but, like, the fact that the Milotic I have in Pokemon Home is from the OG game, and the fact that I went through all that pain to have her, I should get a medal. Favorite Precure ships? Hibiki and Kanade, obviously. Mana and Regina, agree. Mirai and Riko, agree. And Yukari and Aku. I think my crack ship, which is not even that much of a crack ship in Precure, is I have always been, since it aired, I have been, Subomi and Itsuki shipper. Listen, Tsubomi had her feelings, and you can't tell me that she just heard the gender and she's like, JK, Uno reverse those feelings. I refuse. She loved her. We're not gonna lie. We're not gonna lie to each other. Alright, we're gonna... I probably should just do a real color. Come on. Come on. No. Come on. There we go. Joink. What is my cat doing? I hear banging downstairs and I don't love that. But yeah, those are fun ships. Good ships. I like shipping in Pokemon anime too. Dude, oh my god, it's crazy because, like, didn't they give Ash a character who canonically has a crush on him? Wasn't it Serena, I think was her English name? Dude, that had me in a chokehold. I was like, I can't believe they gave a real ship in that series. What's my pen type? I want a bigger. Alright, what's happening with my eraser? I'm on the wrong layer, that's what's happening. But yeah, they have, like, canonical ships and stuff like that. I think I liked May and Ash, but that's because I grew up with, all of those generation of Pokemon, being the ones I watched the most. T, this looks cute. Oh, thank you, Yuki! I appreciate that coming from you. I really want to go to Japan. I've been struggling to find a job ever since June. Yeah, especially if you're in America. I don't know if you are, but if you're in America, understandable that getting a job is the worst thing in the universe. Another thing I do not wish upon my worst enemy. It took me 6 months to get my first job, and those were not fun. If I ever went to Japan, I would try to find Tropical Rouge merc, like your summer. You're gonna have to go during an anniversary. If you want any merchandise of the other seasons, and it's been a hot minute since that season aired, go during one of the anniversaries and you'll find merch. Because there's definitely Cure Summer merch when I went, because I went for the, God, what was the last one we had? The 20th anniversary? I went to Japan during the 20th anniversary, and that was the best decision I made. Definitely, if you're a Precure fan, go during an anniversary season, and don't just go during a normal season, unless, obviously, you know, plans will be plans. But, yes, there was a lot of Cure everybody's merchandise, because they had done those two lines. Like, we had the power-up line, where everybody had their power-up form, except for Horogudu Sky Precure. Everybody had power-up forms. And then they also just did the hanging dangly keychain slash acrylic stands of all of the cures, period. And I got, at that time I was able to get the power-up form for my girl Cure Sunshine, and then I also got her hanging keychain. That's the most optimal way to get merchandise of the ones there. Getting Milotic was a pain in the butt. It was evil. But nowadays, getting a line, yeah, you could just, like, sneeze and there's a Milotic right in front of you. It's so rude. To be honest, the one ship I honestly don't like, but I respect people who ship it, is Laura and Manatsu. I see them as good friends and I don't see them as a couple. Yeah, I can see it either way. I think that's the other fair thing, because, like, I know a lot of people don't ship, like, people will ship, why am I blinking? Erika with Tsubomi over, over Itsuki. And I'm like, you know, I see why you do that, but I disagree. Oh my god. That's right, Serena was seriously in love with Ash. Yeah, she's like, I'm not like these other girls who, like, you know, it could be a will they won't they thing for all the fans, but I'm in it to win it. And I was like, get your mans, girl. Live your best life. Alright. Now I get to actually cover this in reference. That's what I want. I'm so mad too, because I thought I charged my iPad before I did this stream, and apparently that was not the case. Apparently the iPad did not feel like listening to me, which was big sad. I saw TikTok from somebody that lives in Japan, and they found other leftover Precure merch. Yes, there's definitely seasons that have leftover merch. Like when I went, there was a lot of leftover remnants from Star Twinkle. The downside to that is because it didn't sell well. The very unfortunate reality is that there was plenty of merch for for Star Twinkle, but it's because that season did not sell well. But it also had been a hot minute since Star Twinkle had aired, which made me even sadder that it sold so poorly that there was that much merch left over. On the bright side, I was able to get Magical Cinnamon a lot of good old fashioned Cure Soleil's merchandise. It was funny when I checked out at the Precure store because there was so much Soleil merchandise, and I came up there and I had a huge pile, and then I had one Itsuki acrylic. And the person working at the desk was like, "Girl, are you sure you want this? This is not Cure Soleil. This is Cure Sunshine." She's like, "Girl, do you even know what you're buying? Are you even a real Precure fan?" And I was like, "That one's the one for me. The rest are for a friend." I walked away spending a lot of money. That stuff was not cheap. But it was really funny. It was very funny that the person at the store was like, "Girl, are you making a mistake?" But I felt like that one scene from Parks and Rec where he's like, "I know more than you do." Oh my goodness. Uh, I really want a Snowheart Kudu ring. I really want it since the movie came out. Oh, that I got that one. I bought that pretty quickly because any of the movie exclusive merch is like an absolute nightmare to get otherwise. So, I would say if you have the opportunity, by all means, try to get your hands on that sooner than later. Obviously, if you're dealing with America right now and we got the tariffs, then it is what it is until the tariffs go away. But yeah, I would if you find a listing for that, I'd buy it. As long as it's not like ridiculously expensive. But I did manage to get my hands on that one pretty early on because I was like, this is going to be an absolute nightmare to get in the future. Alright, I do know one thing about Altaria, and that's probably that the cloud is white. If I remember nothing else. I need to pull up my reference image for her. Da, 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 da. Oh my god, you and the Daria look so cute together. Thank you. To be honest, I don't know why they celebrated in 2023 when honestly Precure would actually be 19. It's weird how they do it. They kind of like do it a year earlier because it's like at the end of it, it will officially be the 20 whatever or like the next anniversary. I don't know why they do it. That's just kind of that's the funky little monkey thing they like to do. All right. I pulled up my Altaria reference. I now know what she looks like, and I've lost my pen. The pen's gone to the void. I'll never see it again. I found the pen. Never mind. We're so back. We're so back. I don't know if any of you guys do digital art, but if you've ever done digital art, you will understand the pain of putting your stylus down and never seeing it again. Common practice for all of us. Da, 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 da. Love the 6th gen anime, and Bonnie keeps asking girls in Japanese version, please in French, to be the Oath Keeper for her brother Clement. It's funny. I think that's the one that I haven't seen. I know very, very little about the XY generation of the Pokemon anime. I feel like at some point I'm gonna get really bored and I'm just gonna binge the entirety of the Pokemon anime as well as the new one. I'm mad at myself because with the new one I was like, I'm gonna watch the new one because it's new and I can keep up with it. And now I think they're already like 50 episodes in and I'm like, where did the time go? What is happening? What do you mean they're this deep into the show already? This is the rudest thing in the universe. I think the only long form thing I can possibly keep up with these days is just Precure. I think it is the only thing that I can hold myself accountable to keeping up with. Even then, I think there's like stray episodes of Precure that I might have missed really, really, really early on. Da, 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 da. Bonnie, I told you to stop a million times. I kind of thought Toei didn't use their math, not to be mean. Were they just doing it for seasons or years? I think they're doing it for the years, not like individual seasons, because they have a couple of seasons where they doubled up. Specifically, Futariwa to Max Heart, and then Yes 5 to Go Go. The only year they got it right was 2014 with Happiness Charge. Yeah, I'd have to sit there and do the math for it. They kind of funky about how they handle the anniversaries. Sorry, everyone, I have to go now. Maybe I can come back later. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. I don't know how long the live will go today. Because I try to go for 2 hours, but if my pin runs out of power, we do be in a bit of a pickle. I didn't draw her earrings! I took all the effort of sitting down and designing the earrings, and I just never remember them. I just never ever. Nope, wrong pen. I never remember to do the earrings every single diggity dang time. I'm lost in the build again. Ugh. But I have, again, I have kept up with Pokemon Concierge. If there's a one Pokemon property I'm super up to date on, it's that one. It was really cozy this season. It was cute. They managed to shoehorn in some romantic drama. Like, it was a time. It's a good time. Though, I'm gonna rant for like a hot second, if you would allow me, about Wednesday. Something that's completely irrelevant to everything else that we've talked about. I caught up on Wednesday, and I wasn't like the biggest fan in the universe of the series. Like, it was okay. I watched it initially. But someone explained to me, like, why these shows feel like going from being like, okay, quirky series to just another streaming service slop show. Because I feel like back in my day, they would sit there and they would write shows, and if somebody cheated, they're the bad guy. The only people who cheat were like the big bads. Every other slop, like, Netflix drama series is like, what if we just had the main characters cheat? What if we had like the most important characters in the series that you're supposed to like cheat? And I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. I'm so tired of them cheating all the time. They're like, tee hee ha ha, I guess I cheated. And I was like, why are we like this? What happened to morality? What happened to being just? Because now everybody's like, I hate the character who cheated this season. She sucks. And I was like, I don't want to hate her, but also I don't understand why her character cheated for no reason. And for what? Dumb relationship drama. I hated it. Da 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 da. To be honest, 2021 was my year because I was super excited for Security Breach and Travel. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right. Ketoge? Ketoge? I thought Security Breach will come out in spring, but have you heard of Fury's Rage Freddy Part 1? I have not. Is that fan or is that, like, main series? Because Security Breach is the one that just released that had, like, the Mimic stuff, right? I get the Mimic and, like, the other one mixed up. There's so much FNAF stuff at this point. Least favorite Precure ships. Mine are one in C3 ST. I should know what these mean. Don't remember what they are, though. And then the map ships. Yeah, I don't like any of the map ships. Anything that's remotely in that department, absolutely not. My least favorite ships that are like not non-problematic ships in Precure. I don't know. I don't think there's any ships that I like have super big beef with that are like not problematic. It's really just the problematic ones. Because I don't think that any of the ships bother me that are just normal. Where it's like, those two characters could be in love with each other. And there's no problem with that. They could be just fine. I don't think any of those really... I don't get bugged by that. I think I have ships that, like, obviously are in competition with my ships. But I don't hate them. It's just because I like my my ship. Like Erika and Tsubomi being a ship. I don't have a problem with that on paper. I just like Itsuki more. I just like Itsuki a little bit more. Alright, how did I do this the last time in a way that I liked it? Maybe I should just bring the skin back in and maybe that'll make me hate it less. Oh, I see. I see what word you meant there. Yeah, that stuff sucks too. Don't like any of that ship. Again, any problematic ship I don't like. But I see what you did. I see how the censors were like, don't do that. I get you now. To be honest, I didn't know his voice actor was Nathaniel from Lolly Rock, Matt Ellis. I thought he would be Kellen Golf in Fury's Rage Part 2. I know a little bit about voice actors, but you're making me feel very dumb. I feel like I'm like, who? I don't remember. I don't. Did I watch Lolly Rock in English? I think I only watched it in French back in the day. I don't know. I've never heard the voice acting in Lolly Rock. You said Nathaniel, and I was gonna be like for Miraculous. That's my range of knowing Nathaniels. Oh my god. To be honest, when I heard Fury Rage came out, it was pretty upsetting to hear that Security Breach was delayed, but I'm glad it came out in December and it was worth it. Oh, that's good. I don't think I've heard of Fury's Rage. I don't think I know that one. I misspelled Tropical Rouge Precure. Sorry for the misspell. Don't even apologize. I can't spell anything correct ever. I can't spell nothing correct. You guys have seen me try to type things before. If you see me in other people's chats, you'll know that I cannot type the language I speak. The Mimic was shown in 2023 and the Ruins not in 2021. Got you. I just ugh. FNAF is one of those series where I would like to be a little bit more knowledgeable on the lore because I did think it was genuinely interesting, but I have beef with the like not personal beef, but I'm not super fond of the creator. And then I'm also don't like that the lore, they're like, the lore's not consistent. The lore's kind of willy-nilly. And we do silly things like time traveling ball pits, and I was like, you've lost me. I've been like, what do you mean? What do you mean time traveling ball pit? And they're like, the time traveling ball pit. They'll be like, kids were killed in the most aggressive and most depressing ways possible, but time traveling ball pit? Ooh, and I'm like, stop that. Stop doing things like that. You're driving me insane. You've lost me. Da 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 da. I watched Lolly Rock in English on the official YouTube because I can't find the English subs on YouTube. That's so fair. That's so fair. I did see that the account was posting the English episodes. Have they posted everything by this point? I'm like, I see it uploaded constantly. If you look up FNAF Fury's Rage, is that the one? Is that what the one was that was a side scroller? What was the side scroller one that got snuck in at one point? No, this is not that. I have not seen this before. This is also a side scroller, but what's the pixel art side scroller that came out for FNAF? We've gone down a rabbit hole. Fury's Rage is interesting looking. But also the good thing about when like stuff like that happens with something like FNAF, you have multiple teams working on FNAF. So like mainline games are handled by one group and others are handled by another. Kind of like how Pokemon has like most of the main games are handled by Game Freak, but there have been a couple of games that were spin-offs that were handled by other teams. Like the Pokemon Ranger games, I believe, are not by Game Freak. I gotta switch my brush back. Not really interested in the books. They seem confusing and doesn't seem accurate. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've learned about the novels, is that, like, they're surprisingly the most grim dark version of FNAF. And then the lore is, like, just a nightmare. Which, my thing is just somebody who, I really like lore. I love spoilers. This is one of the things where it's like, if you ever tell me a spoiler, I will not be bothered by it. I avoid spoilers solely because I don't want people in chat to be upset. I love spoilers. I love hearing the lore about stuff. And I love hearing the lore about any particular media that has the lore consistent. And that's, again, the reason why I've been, like, kind of meh with the lore in FNAF is that they're like, we just are all willy-nilly and we do all sorts of things and none of it makes sense. And I'm like, but what if you just made sense, though? What if you guys actually cared about your lore? Because FNAF is really good at putting nuggets out there of stuff that looks like it could be interesting. It's got some kind of story that looks like it would be interesting. But then they're like, it means nothing. We're being silly Billy. And I'm like, I hate that. Anytime any creator was like, I just did it because it was kind of funky. I'm like, stop that. Don't be funky anymore. Your funky rights have been revoked. That's like me, like I have that a little bit with another random series, just gonna be all over the place today. Like Evangelion, they're like, yeah, we do all this kind of cryptic stuff in Evangelion, but it doesn't mean nothing. And I'm like, but what if it meant something? What if you guys had actual purpose in the things you did? That'd be pretty neato. That'd be pretty sick nasty if it made sense. Lumi, hi, how are you today? I also hope that I'm being heard because I keep looking down to draw. And so I'm hoping my words are being heard by you all. I'm doing Pokemon OC and Miss Altaria, as well as seem to be going down a video game rabbit hole, but we're getting into the point of video games where it's all of like the mask horror ones. Da 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 da. Yeah, I saw they uploaded the full episodes. They're still there. Yeah, I've seen that they put the episodes. I don't know if all of it's out because I know that they said they're working really hard to have a season 3 for Lolly Rock. Favorite Miku made meme. Mine are Miku made. Oh, Miku made, as in like Miku did Harry Potter. Miku made FNAF. I like Miku. Miku did Minecraft. We can thank Miku for Minecraft. I was gonna be like Miku meme girl. I'm gonna pull out like the most ancient of memes if we talk about Miku memes. Back in the day, people would just like sit there and take the vocal banks and make them say the silliest thing. There's one where they all the Vocaloid characters, this is pre-Project Sekai era, all speak Spanish, and Lynn says a bunch of random stuff that makes no sense, and I always found that one really funny when I was like 12. All the Spanish I know is from the silly little Vocaloid videos. Oh my god, I'm getting back into Pokemon art and that's so fun! Join us! Join us! Are you gonna play the new game? Are you gonna play ZA? I need more people to play Pokemon games with me. My god. I will literally be like, listen, you don't have to play a Pokemon game, but I'm gonna need you to play Pokemon games because Pokemon encourages you to have friends, and I thought that was really rude. Pokemon's like, if you would like to do more in Pokemon, you need to have friendship. And I was like, okay, whoa. Whoa, hey now. Miku leak spin. See, I hear something like that, and I'm like, the OG, like, Levin Polka. I'm like, yeah, like, leak spin. But then there's, like, a bunch of things that have happened in between there, some skewing into the more inappropriate section. I'm like, which one are we talking about? Do-do-do-do-do. Do you remember me in 2024 when there was a League of Cure idol and people thought it wasn't real? And I also remember back in December 2023 there was a Wonderful that was fake and it wasn't. I need to remove the me from there and I will understand what you said. Yeah, I remember the leaks. Dude, Precure leaks are the most unhinged things in the world. The Precure leak for Wonderful was crazy because, so for people who don't know about, like, Precure leaks, prior to, seasons of Precure coming out, because they come out every year annually, there will be almost every single season, I think, has had some kind of leak, and I'd have to go through them in order, except for like maybe the Futariwa because it didn't exist yet. But they would leak the designs and people would be like, this is what it looks like, and it's usually like the vendors that are partnered with the company would accidentally showcase the merch or would showcase the names of the merch and stuff and be like, oh, this is what it is, and people would be like, no, you leaked it. But not me. Not me, I love a good leak. I eat a leak up any day of the week. But Precure has had some really unhinged leaks. My favorite one was one season, somebody who worked at Toei Animation had a coloring book for the series, and they ripped out pages of the coloring book, and they were in a dumpster, and somebody dumpster dove and took those ripped up coloring book pages with the designs of a handful of the characters. And then uploaded these crinkled pieces of paper that had the character designs but no color. It was super wild. But I think it was my favorite because we as the fans got to color it in and guess what the color palettes were going to be. We were all mostly wrong, but it was still that was one of my favorite leaks that we've had so far. But yeah, there's a lot of unhinged leaks coming from vastly different places every time. Perchance Callus is my favorite. We love that. But yes, join me in ZA fun. Tell me your team. If you're playing ZA, anybody in chat, if you're playing ZA, you better drop your team. I know we've already gotten some team drops, but drop more. Why'd I type me in there? Dude, relatable. I do that all the time. I finally watched all of Futariwa. I pieced out because it felt so repetitive, but I felt how kind of, like, heavy it felt. That's such a, like, this is one of those things where I have my little rose-tinted glasses on, being like, Futariwa was such a good time. I remember when I was in middle school being like, Girl, there better be more. Don't you tell me this is the end of it. I want more. I just want them to be doing it forever. And then every single person I know who has watched Futarewa nowadays has been like, God, it just did the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm like, I'm gonna suffer if I rewatch it. I'm gonna hate it. But for me, and nostalgia wise, I was like, that was like crack cocaine for me as a kid. I was like, feed me more of this Precure stuff. Like, I think I literally spent a month not watching the final episode for Futarewa, being like, I'm gonna be so mad when this is gone. I'm gonna hurt so bad when this is not happening any longer, and I'm gonna cry 1,000 crocodile tears. I, girl, I love that series so much. What's your ranking of all the green cures? Ooh, that's tricky. If we're gonna count Felice, I'm not gonna lie, I think she's number one. Uh if we're gonna count Milky, she'd be number two. I think I like March, and I don't even dislike Mint. I just think she's probably the lowest. And then I've got to, if we're gonna, oh, I guess I also have to count Lillian. Lillian would, do I like Lillian or Mint more? I mean, do I like Lillian or Milky more? I don't know. That's tricky. I need to like write it out. Absol, Garchomp, Togekiss are always on my team no matter what game. I love that. Has Absol been in every game? Have you been able to get away with that? I miss the colored silhouette of their designs, like they're blurred, like they did for Delicious Party and Hodogu Sky. That was so good for Hodogu Sky because they had me there. I did, when they did the silhouettes, I colored them in and tried to guess what colors the characters would be. And I got it backwards because that's the one season that our lead cure wasn't pink and she was instead blue. That is like, they pulled the rug under me in that one. They got me good. Do 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 do. I like keep going into color, but then I'm like, I'm gonna rechat. I remember people trying to make fan made designs. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part when we get into leak season. I fervently enjoy it. I remember when Futariwa came out, I kept singing the opening over and over again. I didn't know the words. Early 2000 word time. That was me with Legend of the Mermaid. Like, nowadays it's interesting to understand the Japanese lyrics a little bit better, but I was just singing whatever the heck I thought were the words. Like, I think I could try to come up with whatever lyrics I thought were the lyrics back in the day, being like, I'm just gonna sing this gibberish and that's gonna be Japanese. I now write the language. My language now. Lillian Mayu hair kind of reminds me of Pomni from Digital Circuit. That is such a interesting company. I wait, what part of Pomni? Do I need to look up what Pomni looks like again? I've caught up with the Digital Circuit. Oh yeah, you're right. Her brown hair is that light brown. I forgot Pomni had hair. I was like, is she not just her hat? You're right. She does have like the little like palish brownish hair thing going on that Lillian did. That's like it's dark but it's not. Other than that, let's go easy. Let's go easy. Let's go Eevee. Hell yeah, I have. That's true. Let's go Eevee would not have like anybody. I need to finish Let's Go Eevee. I got mad because it was hard to have money in that game. Like, all my money had to go to Pokeballs, but then I'm like, I don't want to spend it on Pokeballs because they have customization and I could be making my Eevee look super duper cute. But I'm spending all my money on Pokeballs! because it's the only way to grind in that game is to catch Pokemon. Let's Go Eevee had me in a chokehold. Despite it's supposed to be the easiest Pokemon game, it sat there having me poor. Like, I just sat there getting Pokeballs at Mount Moon because there's one guy when you run out of Pokeballs will just give you 10 more. And I sat there and I was like, I guess this is how we grind now. This is the new mines, the Mount Moon mines for me. Ugh. Da 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 da. I picked green because there are not many compared to, yeah, all the other colors, which is fair, but even then I'm struggling with what five-ish members of the Team Green are. I thought Precure All-Stars, F. Flora and Summer would have had an interaction with each other because they look so alike, but I'm upset they didn't. You're right, they should have. Like, I genuinely, it was so great having the Flora Tsubasa interaction. That was peak. But, like, there was so many missed opportunities to just have some random characters interact with each other. Like, that's like, I genuinely just want an All-Stars movie where there's nothing that happens. There's no bad guys. There's no epic thing that happens. All that is occurring is that the characters are having conversations with each other. Because there's just so many silly Billy things that could happen. Like, we should just have a Silly Billy season where all of the people just interact with each other. It would make me happy. It would fulfill me. Alright, what have I not colored in at this point with flats? Da, 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 da. Ba, 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 ba. Yoink. I feel like this pale blue is close enough for Altaria's skin color without having to sample it. I'll regret that later. I really wish there was like another movie where they all saw each other. I think Haruka and Manatsu would become really good friends. I think they'd be really fun. I kind of just like there's something about characters that have very similar archetypes or have some real like interesting reason why they would correlate with each other where I just want to see the interaction. I think it would just be kind of fun. Alright, I think I used my typical purple shader for this, but I see a lot of Altaria art uses a blue shader instead. But I think I might just stick with my purple because I can color sample it a little bit, or a little bit easier. Da-da-da-da-dum. I mean, you're right, but to be honest, it would sound like a cafeteria people talk. We just go over to each of the tables. We put them all at tables. There was one All-Stars movie where they would at least group them up by color, and they'd be like, dance for me. All of you interact. All of you have cute little moments. Because I think there was a cute moment with Shiny Luminous and Sunshine that I thought was pretty adorable in one of the earlier All-Star movies. Alright. How do I want to color this? And then I will remember that I've not colored other things. My problem is I just have my brush way too big. Other crazy adventure-y things that I've had as of late is so back to the spider topic for a short moment. I got my I went out to get plants with a friend to take care of my current plants, and I got another plant. When he gave me the plant, I was holding it, and I had been telling him my gripes about my spider issue with my big old spider that's on my porch. And while he handed me the plant, that would now be my plant, apparently there was a spider on my hand, and he just, like, grabbed the pot, like, he put the plant in the pot, and, like, it didn't have any soil. It was, like, clippings. He handed it to me, and I was like, thank you for the pot. Then he took it back out of my hand, and I was like, oh, is he gonna go fill it up with soil? That's so kind of him. He's so sweet. And then he was like, so there was a spider on it, and it was about to touch you, and you had already articulated to me that you did not like spiders. And he's like, so I removed it before it touched you. And I just sat there like, I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm glad that the spider did not cause me great amounts of trauma just then and there. So I've had my very spider-filled day for the day. You know what? All I think is that if I have any more run-ins with bugs, I will feed it to my Venus flytrap. When in doubt, it's going to the Venus flytrap. I'm done with, like, I'm done being a victim of bugs. It's time to Uno reverse the situation. And just make their lives harder by being eaten by a plant that has evolved to kill them. I think we should just all have Venus flytraps and we start feeding the bugs. It's time for us to fight fire with plants. That's the way we need to do it. Again, Cure Earth should have been a green cure. You're so correct. Should have been a green cure. And you know it's bad when the fan edits do a better job than the actual show. Facts. Absolute facts. I to this day I don't understand why they made her purple. Like if she was blue, I would have understood it. Like, you know, the planet Earth is actually mostly blue. We talk about the green Earth, but it is mostly blue. It's not purple. There's nothing purple about the Earth. Precure is the people at Toei are colorblind. That's all I'm gonna say about that. We got Cure Spicy, whose main theme is sandwiches for some reason, and she's blue when she could have been red. I've never forgiven them for that. She's my villain origin story. It's brought me great ire. I hope next year we have a yellow cure. It's been 3 years since we've had. Really? It's been that long. It has been a hot minute. Yeah, you know what? Blue cure writes, not me still sitting here being like, we should have more blue cures. We should have yellow. I feel like yellows in general usually have my favorite personality types. Like, yellow is not anywhere near my favorite color, but they have the best personality types in Precure. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a huge Cure Peace fan, and I'm a huge Cure Sunshine fan. I can speak today. I can speak the language I was born into. I can talk normally. Welcome in, Rosie. How are you doing today? I would try to catch you up on what we've been talking about, but it's been a hectic day. It's been a wild little ride of conversational pieces. But in the meantime, back to talking about plants. I've been very excited about my little carnivorous terrarium. I have bought all the materials. I will decide whether or not I will film myself arranging it. The reason why I don't want to film myself arranging my terrarium is if I mess up, people will be like, oh, obviously you're doing the wrong ratio of soil. I think I'll just die. I think if people tell me that I'm doing it profusely wrong, I'll just perish. I'll perish out of existence and be like, okay, I'll never plant again. So I'm like, I need to get good. I need to level up my plant skills. I need to be a better grass type. And once I've achieved that, then I'll be like, guys, look at my cool terrarium where all the plants live and I have not messed up. I didn't give them the wrong type of water. It'll be a good time. Just saw your review and saw part 2 of Wednesday Season 2. Oh my god, Wednesday Season 2. It's been a ride, dude. It was a ride. The other thing that Wednesday Season 2 did was I got to the end of it and I was like, okay, so when are the next 4 episodes? And they're like, no, that's where Season 2 ends. We're done. And I was like, what? That was not the conclusion of the season. That was like, you know, you got 4 more episodes to give me of what's happening. Because, like, we did not conclude nothing. Things still could be a bit more conclusive than they are. Yet here we are. Over. Very rude. And then I think the next thing that I'm going to watch on Netflix, besides finishing up Hikaru, is going to be Stranger Things. I think that's coming up. It was a fun ride. I liked the new girl. I gotta give it to them. The female characters in that series are fantastic. The guys, on the other hand, the males, they are not. they really demoted the writing for all of the male characters in the season. It was rough to be a male character in the second season. Or at least switch Spicy and Yum Yum. Valid. That would have been completely valid. Like, I could handle Spicy being yellow. Yellowish, red, orange. And, like, Yum Yum being blue. I feel like it make not as much sense, but it would not be as atrocious. Agnes, she was fun. I loved her! This is one of those moments where I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to hate your character, but every time you're on screen, I'm like, go off, you little weirdo. Go off. She was a nightmare, but she was great. I was like, I just can't wait until we all emotionally are friends with each other. Because, like, the animosity between them, I was like, we need to stop that. We need to. I know the plot needs to plot more, but we need to stop having animosity. We need to come together as a friend group right this second. And then they did, and I was like, oh, that's lovely. That's lovely when you guys are all allies and we're all on the same page. I also think that having an invisibility power is super OP in terms of just being like the most useful thing under the sun. All right. I'm trying to think of any other shows that are coming up in the ongoing seasons because right now everybody's like, I'm rewatching Gilmore Girls. Dude, I know nothing about Gilmore Girls. I have learned literally just this particular season that Gilmore Girls is like the go-to fall girly pop show. I don't know a diggity dang thing about that. I don't know what happens. I don't know if those girls got Gilmored. I don't know nothing about it. But apparently it's the one. It's the one and it's been the one the whole time and I'm like, I don't know nothing. I don't know. I don't know nothing. I feel like I'm also one of those people who doesn't typically. I take that back. I do watch shows when the season comes and I'm like, I need to feel a feeling and I need to feel seasonal. But for me, that's not. I feel like I don't really vibe with the fall ones because all the fall stuff that people rewatch, I'm like, those are the things I don't want to watch again. Like they're like, I watch Hocus Pocus, and I was like, Hocus Pocus, emotionally ruined me. I can't just sit here and be like, I'll watch Hocus Pocus again for funsies. I'm like, it makes me too sad. It's too much of an emotional ride that I can't be like, comfort movie. Not that one. Also, the dance with Enid and Agnes was really good. That's the one thing that I was worried about coming into this is I was like, they're gonna try to recreate what they did with season one with the silly Billy dance that turned into a trend. And I was like, how are they gonna match that? They did a good job, but also they literally brought in Lady Gaga. They were like, one gay man made him edit on TikTok, and it caused us to hire Lady Gaga. Which was fair. And I thought they're like honestly the dance was okay. I'm way obsessed with their outfits. The very like Rococo style outfits that they're wearing had me like now I want to cosplay them. Like I'm sure Wednesday's outfit for the dance in season 1 is hard enough to get your hands on or like if you wanted to sew it yourself sucks. But I see those Rococo outfits and I'm like, girl, I want to wear that for Halloween, but God only knows how much A that cost or BBB how much it would take to sew that myself. But the Rococo outfits really popped off, and the two of them were just like so adorable. I loved it so much. The dance was everything to me. Because at first they're like, we're doing a dance, and I was like, what does that mean? What is that gonna look like? And I liked how it turned out. The most experience I had with Netflix Wednesday show was the Wendy's collab. I didn't know they did a Wendy's collab. That's funny. I love that. Oh my god. FNAF movie is in December. Oh, that's the second one, right? They're continuing from the first one. Has anyone found the Freddy Fanta? I've been looking for rings. I still haven't found any. I didn't know they did a collab. I'm missing out on all these collabs. I'm a fake fan. I like Hocus Pocus, but it's not my go-to Halloween movie. Fair, so fair. I will say though, I do get into Halloween music. A good old-fashioned spooky, scary skeleton moment with a little Halloween. I love listening to Soul Eater music for anybody who remembers Soul Eater. That show and that manga were very meh. They could have done things differently than they did, but the music was so fire throughout the entire show. I really like the Soul Eater soundtrack. What are their fault? Oh, I haven't even talked about it yet. I haven't even popped off about the most important fall thing that happens. I also colored this wrong. There's pumpkin flavored stuff. There are the like listen, I'm like more of a spring summer girly. I'm not that much of a fall winter girly. However, fall and winter bring something that spring and summer don't really do as hardcore. And that's flavors. Because when pumpkin season rolls in, followed by everything being gingerbread flavored, holy, that's the good stuff. That's the good time for me. I love it when we just go unapologetically into the night with pumpkin flavored food, dude. So good. I made a heinous mistake at the farmers market this weekend. So a little bit earlier this week, I'd gone to a local like fruit stand, and they were selling pumpkin bread, and I got pumpkin bread, and I was like, that's great. I went to the farmers market yesterday with a friend, um, and we were at one of the bakery booths, and they were selling pumpkin bread but with chocolate chips, and there was only one left, and he hadn't had breakfast, so I convinced him to buy it, and he gave me a bite, and I was like, it should have been me. I should have been the owner of the pumpkin bread with chocolate chips in it. It was so good. It was so insanely good, and I was like, you just give it to me. You just give me your bread. And he's like, you already have a loaf at home. And I was like, I could have two. I could have two loaves. And he's like, no, it's my pumpkin bread. And it was really rude that he didn't share that with me because I really could have used some choco chips in my pumpkin. Like, I've been sleeping. I didn't know that combination would be so heavenly, but now I've got to put chocolate chips in my pumpkin bread. In bad, sad pumpkin news, though, I have been trying to get pumpkin flavored donuts at my local donut establishment, and they've been out every time I've gone, and that's a crime because I want my pumpkin. I've yet to have a pumpkin donut. I'm this far into this way too early alleged fall season, and I have not have a pumpkin donut, and I shall not be satiated until I have received the ultimate pumpkin food, if you understand what I am saying. Is it just me, or I thought the Tropical Rouge movie was going to be Christmas, and the funniest thing I thought I predicted would Santa Claus be there? I wish. I'm low-key a Tropical Rouge movie hater. That movie was weird. I don't know why that movie was so bad. And I also feel really bad too because I made my friend who lives in Japan who does nothing with Precure, I made her go see the movie by herself. I was like, I need you to go see this movie, I'll pay for it, and then you need to report to me what the plot was. And she's like, girl, I had no clue what was happening. And then I watched the movie and I was like, cool, I don't either. That one was just a weird movie. Oh my god. I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty upset. They didn't do a Christmas episode. They had a clip. Instead, they had a cliffhanger. Yeah, I feel like every other season will acknowledge that Christmas exists, and I think they also do that with Halloween. Every other season acknowledges that Halloween exists. Though, to be fair, I think they did. I'm trying to think in order. I know Tropical Rouge had a Halloween episode. I don't remember if Delicious Party did. They did have it. They had Cure Pumpkin for Hodogaru Sky. And then they very briefly had a Halloween episode for Wonderful Precure. And then we'll see if we get a Halloween one this year. But every other year I think they do Christmas. Because like Star Twinkle and Heartcatch have Christmas. And like Go Princess. I think only certain seasons they do it. Otherwise, Christmas tends to be around the time where they need to start wrapping up the plot. And depending on how it's written, that either happens or doesn't. Why did I do that? I don't know that. I don't know how to draw shadows. I just winging it. Soul Eater, such a classic. Real. So true. So true, bestie. I always, every October, am listening to spooky Vocaloid music. Yes! Either it's happy Halloween or spooky Okasan. Same. I'm gonna say the ones that I listen to because they're older and it's gonna sound so unhinged. Like, my go-to Halloween Vocaloid songs are the Metallic Halloween one, which it's Metallic Halloween Vocaloid. What is the actual title? I don't know why I'm blanking on that one. Not Metallic. Why did I say that? Dream Melting or Meltic Halloween, not Metallic. I love that one. That was one of my favorites. And then the other one I like is Alice Human Sacrifice is my other favorite Halloween song. two drastically different songs. I forgot to mention, I realized that the Tropical Rouge movie released on October just like it did on the Disney Secret of Wings. So yes, that's because of the movie schedule. So the best times to release children's movies are around the holidays, like Thanksgiving weekend and like somewhere between Halloween and Thanksgiving weekend is when they release their biggest hits. Like Disney is notorious for doing that. Like Moana released on Thanksgiving weekend, both Frozen movies released on Thanksgiving weekend or like that Thanksgiving week holiday period. They always release it on the Thanksgiving thing because that's the rotation of the big Disney movies, which I don't, what are they releasing this year? Now that I think about it, is it going to be the Pixar one that gets released for Thanksgiving Day weekend? Because God, I'm like so blanking on this right now. What? Because we had Elio already released, right? That's the one I remember. Have they mentioned a mainline Disney movie coming up? Or am I just, like, losing my mind? I love your thinner line art! I think that it helps give your work the anime feel. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just kind of doing, what's his name? Is it Sugiyama? The guy who does, like, the Pokemon, the original Pokemon promo art. Is it Sugamori? Sugiyama? I don't know why I'm blanking. I feel like I should know this because it's a pretty famous dude. Gotta get the parents to take the kids to the movies. Thanksgiving weekend is the best time. You're getting into the holiday season and you're trying to find things to do together. Plus, kids have school off. Yeah, nowadays when I do, because I used to go to the big Disney release movies either when I was like still in school, I went with family. When I was in college, all of my roommates were animation majors. So they would drag me to the movie theaters anyways, which I would happily go. Like I would remember seeing Moana very happily with my friend group. Da 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 da. And nowadays, I have a niece and nephew, and so I will go to the movies with my niece and nephew because my sister in law is like, please take my children, please take my children and go do something, and let me live a few moments of not being a mom, which is so valid. And I love going to the movies with my niece and nephew. However, she did ban me. She's like, you cannot take my daughter to Frozen 3 because my niece is super obsessed with Frozen. She's like, you can't take her to Frozen 3 because that movie is selectively something that they're doing together. She's like, I like Frozen, and that's going to be a special moment between me and my daughter. Which I'll be honest, my brother's family is so cute with my niece because he took her specifically. My brother took her to the Frozen on Ice performance and took her to the Frozen orchestra performance, and I was mega jealous. And they're like, "We're not bringing you." I was like, "But you guys know I like Frozen too." And they're like, we're not paying for you. It's so rude. Do you remember Secrets to the Wings had a different name? I feel like it did, but I don't remember off the top of my head. That does not surprise me. I used to be more... Actually, I take it back. My sister was the person who was into the Tinkerbell stuff. Like, I had that, like, one age phase, like, the very unfortunate point in my life where I was like, I'm less into animated movies. They feel too childish for me. I had like a very brief phase, and that's when the Tinkerbell movies hit. But my sister was so Tinkerbell pilled. It was like the funniest thing in the universe. And it's funny now because I own all of the Tinkerbell stuff that she used to have. Like she had all of the Tinkerbell merch you could have gotten back in the day. Like I have her DS game of the Tinkerbell stuff, but my sister's like she knows so much about like Pixie Hollow and things like that. She was really really into the Tinkerbell stuff. And so I do think if I ever cover Tinkerbell stuff on the channel, I would probably bring in my sister cuz she is more knowledgeable. I finally sat down and watched all the Tinkerbell movies cuz I missed the Never Beast one and I missed the Pirate Fairy one. And I finally sat down and watched those, and I was like, oh, that's what happens. The only one I really saw was Secret of the Wings, because it was my sister's favorite, and she was really obsessed with it. And that was around the time that she was in the Nutcracker, so it was like winter themed, and she loved it. It's weird that Max Heart is the only Christmas episode that has a special ending in a different song. Oh yeah, they did do that. Yeah, they were being a little different. They were being a little special. I forgot to mention, I realized the tropical movie, da 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 da. Yeah, okay, read that. Da da da. I realized I remember seeing a trailer called Tinkerbell and the Mysterious Winter Woods. I don't know why they changed it to Secret Wings. Probably just marketing wise. Either that or there's some kind of copyright nonsense that was occurring at that point. They always got weird reasonings for like changing stuff, but I assume it's some marketing thing that motivated them to change. But who knows? Who knows at the end of the day? It's always just a little bit funky. I don't know. This is my problem with Pokemon, is that the roundness of Pokemon's heads don't make sense to me. Like, I took a while to even get this Altaria to have, like, the head shape that I gave her, because I just genuinely don't understand the unique heads to make them look not bad. I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it. That's another problem to worry about. Ugh. Ba ba ba. Let's see. Zootopia 2 is the one that is released in November. It's the I was gonna say, is it that soon? And I'm like, they did mention it a minute ago. I'm relatively excited for that. I think there was a slew of Disney movies that I thought were going to be not good, and they ended up being pretty okay. I liked Zootopia. Zootopia, though, I think my appreciation for Zootopia has increased because the memes are incredibly unhinged for that series. If you know, you know. So the memes are so unhinged and funny that that's half of my motivation is to see if they leave any kind of Easter egg acknowledgement that the memes exist. I've been really spoiled with Sonic 3 because the staff really acknowledged all the memes. They're like, we are aware of the Sonic fandom and we were going to try to make this movie good in a way that the fandom would enjoy. And they sure got that correct. They did a really good job there, and now I'm like, can all the movies do that though? Like, you don't have to acknowledge it outright, but an Easter egg is nice. Have you seen Ralph Breaks the Internet? I've seen parts of it. I have a little bit of beef with the way they handled the plot. I really liked Wreck-It Ralph. The second one, I don't like how they handled the antagonist, but also everything from the first Wreck-It Ralph movie to literally now, I have hated the way they've handled antagonists, aka not really having any. They've made me so mad. I have not liked the way any Disney movie in recent years has handled having conflict. They have all made me kind of frustrated. But I'm generational trauma's biggest hater. I hate every other movie being like, and the villain was generational trauma, and I'm like, and you suck. You're terrible. Have a real antagonist. Have a real enemy. Stop being just the lack of communication and hating each other as a family. Can that stop being the villain? We've done it like 5 times in a row. Give me a real villain. Which is why I'm a little bit excited for Zootopia, because Zootopia 1 had a real villain. Can we do that again? Can we have a real villain again? Can Zootopia pull it out? Can we break this curse? And I'm not going to count Wish because God only knows what. Wish didn't make any sense. Wish was just bad. We want a good villain that had good, proper foreshadowing. But in terms of Wreck-It Ralph 2, I genuinely, I liked everything that wasn't the main conflict. I liked all the references. I like controversially, people either hate or love the princesses. I liked the princesses. I didn't mind them being there. I liked the princesses. I don't like that they played a large role in the end of it. I thought they were just going to be a cute little Easter egg. I didn't need them to be a huge role, but I did like their presence. If they made a Wreck-It Ralph 3, I predict it's going to be him versus AI. I think that's making more and more sense, because originally Disney was like, yeah, AI. And now Disney's like, no, we hate AI. And I'm like, good. Disney, you had me there in the first half. You were pro AI for like a hot second. And then they were like, JK, we hate AI because people keep using it to steal and alter our IP. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, you hate that they're touching your IP? AI? That's crazy. I can't wait until Japan catches up and does that too, because every other Japanese company is like, we love AI. AI is so amazing. And the second they realize that all of their IPs are being funneled into AI, they're going to be like, wait a second, but we hate copyright infringement more. I'm waiting for that turn to happen in Japan because right now Japan loves AI and it's awful. I really like when people did a challenge like Sonic versus Mufasa movie. I'm gonna be honest, Sonic is the best movie in winter 2024. Dude, I wish it didn't air right after like awards because that movie deserved everything. Sonic 3 was so good. I unapologetically love Sonic 3. It's such a good movie, dude. I'm a Sonic 3 truther. It's the best movie. It deserves all the awards. Oh my god. Da, da, da. The best part of Ralph 2 is the princess scene. If you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. I like the princess scene when they're in the dressing room. I hate the princess scene at the end of the movie where they all start like utilizing their powers to deal with the situation. I was like, you guys are not important enough to be handling a conflict. You guys are just supposed to be here and be like a little background thing. Like, you're the kind of characters who give advice as like a cameo, but you can't actually influence the end of the movie. That's me being persnickety though. That's me being a little persnickety. But I did like them in the room. I liked the princess scene a lot. I thought that was funny. I thought Ralph being exposed to all the internet memes and stuff and the references was. I like the references. I'm not somebody who's gonna really be pissed about there being a reference or a nod to something. I like Easter eggs. I like a good joke. I know Miyazaki hates. Yeah, that guy's gonna hate it. That guy's gonna hate it because he got copyright infringed. The second that people realize that their copyright is being touched and not respected, then they have something to say about AI. Up until that point, they're like, this is such a beautiful tool that we don't want to know anything about how it was made and the bodies that are in the closet to make it. We don't want to know about that. It's great. But then the second they're like, but you touched my IP, they're like, now you must die. And I'm like, you guys are so selfish. You guys are so selfish. I really hate how my Italian brain rot was actually AI and people made it and people accepted that. Dude, that's with me with my I have a lot of cousins. So I have 16 male cousins. I don't have a single girl in my family. That's a cousin. But on the younger range of my cousins, the entire Labor Day weekend, they kept showing me AI videos. They're like, "Do you know this meme?" Because I normally know a lot of internet memes. I'm a little too chronically online sometimes, and I'm just aware of stuff. And they're like, "Do you know this meme?" And they showed me stuff I have never seen before, but it took me about 0.5 seconds to realize it was AI, and I was like, "Get that garbage away from me." I immediately was like, how dare you show me this disrespectful content to my eyeballs? And they're like, no, it's so cool. It's like so funny because it doesn't make any sense. And I was like, I'm gonna throw you all away. We're no longer related. I'm removing you from the family specifically. And they were like, I bet you secretly like AI. And it was really, really funny too, because my mom showed up right behind them like a ghost and she's like, no, she hates I send her videos all the time. And you know what she says every time as her beloved mother, sends her a video? She's like, man, that's AI. So my mom luckily came to my defense and she's like, no, she hates AI. She vehemently hates AI. Trust and believe. There's no questioning her alliance when it comes to technology like that. And I was like, thank God. Thank God me narking my mother has finally paid off. I feel so bad every time I do it because mom will like send me a video of like something cat related, and she's trying to be like, "You would like this. You love cats. Look how cute this cat thing is. I can relate to you, my daughter." And I'm like, "Mom, that's AI." Every time I ruin our beloved mother daughter relationship by ruining it by like, "Mom, don't send me AI. That's awful." I hate AI art because a person didn't make it. Facts. Big facts. I remember seeing memes of 2023 of Ralph being the hero because of him destroying Miranda. Oh my god, that's true. As he should. Protecting the world. God, what a time. What a time. I will say that's the one thing that I do think Disney will do better off not doing is including content creators in any of their official works. Like, you can use content creators to promote your works, but yeah, do not reference any content creator, especially any big creator, because God, the track record of every other content creator who gets like massively large being some kind of weirdo is so disheartening. As someone who has grown up since the inception of like YouTube, it's very depressing. Every other minute you're like, I like this content creator, and then they're like, they're a criminal, and you're like, okay, shit, everyone's a criminal. Can you guys just be normal? Can you guys just be not weird? Is that so hard? It's a time, man. It's a time. Welcome back, Marcos. Oh my god. But yeah, I'll definitely tune in for Zootopia too. I think that one will be fun. Oh my god, I am trying to remember because they announced all the upcoming Pixar movies, and I was like, this is none of them interest me. Like, whatever what's the one that's coming out? What's the one with the beaver and the girl turns into a beaver, and then of course she's a character of color who's turning into a beaver because they for some reason can't resist doing that. It's terrifying. That interests me negative. I also don't like a lot of the movies where it's like someone turns into something they're not. I'm like, leave that with Prop Hunt. We don't need to be doing movies anymore like that. I'm like, I'm tired of all these Disney people turning into animals. I've had enough of these animal movies. But yeah, I have no interest in that. I think they're doing another Toy Story, which I'm like, I'm controversial opinion. There should not have been more than the first two. The second they did more Toy Story, I was like, I've had enough of this. No more Toy Story. There's been enough of the stories of toys. I feel like the first two movies were fine, and I have not enjoyed a single Toy Story movie since. What was the other thing? They're doing another Incredibles movie, which I don't have any qualms with Incredibles, but I just don't think we need another one. Especially since they're not going to age up any of the characters. They're just going to continue to be the same age where we left them off. I feel like Incredibles would be better if they did a TV series. But I also think 90% of Disney properties would be better if it turned it into a TV series. To be honest, I'm kind of scared of having a red flag. I forgot his name, hanging out with famous person that's older than her, and I keep seeing people make ships. Fans are weird. Fans are just super weird. I really hope they're not a couple. Yeah, fans are just really weird. They're so weird. I love Disney, but I know the company is bad or even made wrong. I can read this. But I know the company bad or even wrong choices, all the wrong choices it made. I love Gargoyles, Owl Owls, DuckTales, Amphibia, and Mighty Ducks. I think, honestly, a lot of the TV series that Disney has put out have really been super good lately, and they just keep nerfing the poor shows. I really liked... I'm big Owl House fan. I don't know if this is like a secret to anybody, but I'm a really big Owl House fan. I really liked Gravity Falls. Big fan of Gravity Falls. I was a big fan of... I wanted to like Star vs. the Forces of Evil more, but they kept making very weird decisions. What else have they done? Amphibia, I'm a huge Amphibia fan. I feel like Amphibia is super underrated. The reboot of DuckTales was super, super good. I still need to watch the final season of that. Mighty Ducks is a classic. I remember liking it back in the day, but I remember nothing about what it was about. But yeah, their TV series, whenever they have a plot-driven TV series, it's pretty good. I wish I liked... What's it called? I wish I liked the one by the guy who does Family Guy. I wish I liked it more, but I don't. Phineas and Ferb. I'm not a Phineas and Ferb person. That was more of my sister's thing. She was really into Phineas and Ferb, and it's cool that it came back, but I'm like, it's not for me. I like the memes, though. The memes are funny. I tried to get into the one with the girl with the ghost, and that one was okay, but it didn't keep my attention. Too ADHD to watch that. But that was pretty good. I don't know. I prefer all their, like, action-y adventure one. Oh, they did announce that they're doing, like, essentially the same thing as Owl House, didn't they? I can't remember if they announced it as a movie or a TV series, where they're like, there's some boy who isekais to a witch realm with his mother. And I'm like, is that not Owl House, though? Is that not just Owl House? but with a guy, like you're seriously pulling a Steven Universe where you're like, we can't get this stuff greenlit and loved unless the main character is a boy. Is that what's happening? Oh my god. In the on another note, watch Knights of Guinevere when it comes out. I'm really hyped for that. I love Dana Terrace. I'm super 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 psyched for Knights of Guinevere and everything that it could entail. But I also love anything by Glitch Productions. Their stuff's really good. I love Zootopia, The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Tarzan, Sleeping Beauty, Tangled, Frozen 1 and 2, and many others. Yeah, there's a lot of like good classic Disney movies. I'm in that like era where all I remember it is they used that one 3D model program, Deep Blue. I really like Tarzan, Atlantis, and Treasure Planet. I Dude, I made the mistake of showing a friend Treasure Planet because I was like, this is my favorite thing. And she's like, I hated it. And I was like, never talk to me again. Actually, our friendship is over. I keep doing that. I need to stop showing friends movies that I really enjoy because I also did that with K-pop Demon Hunters. And my friends were like, it was cheesy and awful and a cash grab. And I was like, okay, I'm never showing friends something I like ever again. I can't have all these people be telling me the stuff that I really enjoyed is terrible. I'm like, you can hate it. That's fine, but don't tell me it's terrible. It's not objectively bad. You just didn't like it. Ah. Ba 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 ba. I feel like Incredibles, they need to talk about the glory days because I heard Incredibles was trending this year due to the heroes that had been missing ever since the first one. Oh, it'd be interesting if they did an Incredibles prequel. I could rock with that. Pixar, I love Toy Story 1 and 2, the good ones. Finding Nemo, the Finding Nemo's good. Ratatouille's really good. Ratatouille, like, I don't know what season you would categorize Ratatouille in, but Ratatouille's one of those, like, feel-good movies. Like, if I just am in a mood, or I, like, just need to like food or something, which, mind you, is, like, all the time, I love watching Ratatouille is one of the very few movies I don't mind rewatching. There's just something about that movie that it's good. Incredibles 1 was good. And Bug's Life, oh god, the classic, the numero uno first Pixar movie, Bug's Life. I haven't seen a Bug's Life in 1,000 years, but I think I watched it a lot when I was a child, but it was also like the only Pixar movie that existed at the time. For the fans of Owl House, long live Lumity. Long live Lumity! Do you remember that one time that Disney posted about it and they got the ship name wrong? That was funny. That was cute. I've been watching Owl House for the first time. Yes, I know I'm late to the party. Better late than never. Join us. The door is wide open. I might actually, you know what, if we're talking about stuff I'll rewatch. I kind of wish it was shorter, but I don't actually wish it was shorter, but like, people love watching Over the Garden Wall this time of year. I can't do that. I watched Over the Garden Wall once and I was like, that's enough of that. That was a good one. It was good. I cannot rewatch that. I'll rewatch Owl House. I'll sit down and you know what? I could do a review video on Owl House. I could go through Owl House, but I have to do a lot of research because I know a lot behind the scenes and it'll be really embarrassing if I get the information wrong. But God, I love the Owl House. Owl House would be fun to review. But some of the other studios that makes animation movies are good, like DreamWorks. Yeah, DreamWorks has been surprisingly good. Like DreamWorks was always kind of like the silly Billy one because they did like they were always really riding on the coattails of Shrek. And it's like, oh, they're the goober ones that just did Shrek and it was whatever. But they've really been kicking butt. They've been doing fairly well, though they keep kind of messing it up at the end. But they've been doing really well in the TV series department because they did both Voltron and She-Ra, and those were not bad. Those were pretty decent, actually. Voltron got really rough, and I didn't watch the final season for very specific reasons. But Voltron was like surprisingly like it came in swinging with some quality because it definitely had the same energy of watching like Avatar: The Last Airbender. But it's also because most of the staff that worked on things like Voltron and stuff were the staff from Avatar: The Last Airbender, so that helps. Da 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 da. Prince of Egypt. Oh yeah, they did do a lot of really good old ones too. Prince of Egypt is surprisingly just really good, but that's because that's the one time. That's the one time a studio sat there and said, "We're going to do extensive research." And it really paid off and it was a really good movie. Like I think dude, if you again, as such an animation nerd, if you look up the behind the scenes for Prince of Egypt, as somebody who's not usually particularly big fan of like the religious-esque movies, they did such a good job researching that. They genuinely like that was a labor of love, and I really the behind the scenes for that's really good. Spirit, the was it Spirit? Is it this? Is it called the Stallion of the Cimarron? I thought it was like the Legend of the Spirit Horse movie. It is Stallion of the Cimarron. I don't know why I thought it was something else. I'm so silly. But yeah, love Spirit. I saw that in theaters. We had like that was during my horse girl phase. I remember our entire grade class went to see that. One girl's family got nuts and she bought tickets for everybody and we all went to see that at a movie theater that no longer exists. But we all watched Spirit in the movie theater together and we even had like the tickets for the movie like genuinely had the horse printed on them. It was crazy. I loved that one. Shrek 1 and 2 were good. Road to El Dorado was good. I saw Road to El Dorado so late in life. That was one of the ones that I didn't see until college. I don't know why I just didn't see that in my youth. Okay. The bad guys I actually liked. I'm not gonna lie. I did like the bad guys. The wild robot. I'm trying not to get the wild robot confused with Iron Giant. I have not seen the wild robot, but I've heard it's really good. And then Puss in Boots and Last Witch, I've seen the ending of that. I've walked into my niece watching that a lot, but I've not actually seen the full movie. The thing I was actually talking about Uta with the guy that's like a lot older than her. Kaito? I hate Kaito. I like Kaito as a character. I hate that every interaction that he's had now in the story is just him with Uta. I hate that. That makes me big mad. I just hope they're friends. Same. I hate that they keep like making it ambiguous. I wish there was a better line drawn there. Oh yeah, I like the stop motion films too, especially The Nightmare Before Christmas. That's a good one. I'm a huge Coraline fan. Kubo and the Two Strings is probably my favorite one. I think visually Kubo and the Two Strings is my favorite stop motion. Though I'm not gonna lie, My Melody and Kuromi is actually probably going to take the cake for being my new favorite. I really liked I talked about it earlier in stream. I really liked the stop motion visuals for that. Trying to keep up with too bad the Voltron reboot got removed from Netflix. It did. I'll never see the final season. I don't know where it's gonna go. DreamWorks must be working with another streaming platform or something. Why did I do this? Why did I even make all this effort to draw the cloud shadows when I was gonna do this the whole way? Anyway, God, I'm so silly. I'm so silly, Billy, with those shadows today. It's probably because I'm not paying enough attention, but that's okay. You all are still willing to chat with me, despite me being very silly. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio made me cry a lot. It was fantastic stop motion film. I saw the beginning of that. I think I was watching it with a friend, but we didn't. We had to go somewhere, so I've not seen the end of that. That reminds me, I do need to finish that one. I'm glad to hear it's good. Me and my sis love the Spirit soundtrack. Dude, they used to, for movies, I feel like they had really good soundtracks. Like, I feel like they've been slipping. I feel like in newer shows and IPs and stuff, they just haven't been really, like, getting the music the way they used to. Though K-pop Demon Hunters is putting us back on track for getting just good music. Hans Zimmer and Bryan Adams made a perfect... Yeah. Like, there's just some soundtracks that just, back in the day, were just so good. And they would be... And you'd have these really good musicians, but in places you wouldn't expect them to, but it really works out. Coraline is really good, even though it scared young people. Dude, that's another one that I didn't watch until I was older, because I was like, this is too spooky. This is too... Like, I got scared by Monster House. Monster House absolutely did me in as a child. I don't know why that one scared me so much, because now I'm obsessed with horror. But, like, Monster House messed me up, and I looked at Coraline and I was like, absolutely not. This will scare me more than Monster House did. And honestly, if I had seen it as a kid, I would have been correct. I would have absolutely passed out watching Coraline. That's barely a kid's movie. If we're being so for real. Conceptually, it's so spooky. It's super dark, but it's good. I feel like the movie is gonna give me a flashback of the Tropical Rouge movie. I'm kind of sad they didn't get the invitation of the movie. Yeah. Which kind are we talking about? You and Idol or Vocaloid? You and Idol. I've made it very clear in my reviews. I do not care for the romantic whatnot. Like, I think at best the romantic stuff that they've been pulling with Uta and Kaito has been just a red herring for him actually being like this deep character who has big trauma, and he's been like being so foreboding with Uta and Cure Idol because he's like big trauma. He's like, oh, Uta's such a happy idol. I want to encourage her because she reminds me of me when I was little. And then I see like Cure Idol, and he's like, oh, Cure Idol's not taking her idleness seriously, and if she doesn't take it seriously now, she's gonna get seriously hurt like I did. So I'm gonna be rough and mean to her. And I think that's probably going to be the explanation for his behavior at best. Otherwise, if it turns into a love live, I'm gonna lose it. Like, if any of the adults with the kids end up turning into any kind of love line in this show, I'm gonna absolutely crash out. The fact that there's two is making me really mad. Monster House is scary too, but not as bad. Not a bad animated movie. It's good. I think it was like I just didn't know where that movie was gonna go, and it caught me off guard. Don Bluth's movies after Land Before Time didn't go well until Anastasia, which is fantastic. And Titan AE. What is Titan AE? I love Anastasia. I did not realize for the longest time that it wasn't a Disney movie. I don't think I've ever seen this. 1 hour and 35 minutes. I wonder if I've seen clips of it. Okay, the art from it looks familiar, but I've never actually seen this one. But they had that look. They had that look where everybody looked like Brendan Fraser. Every single animated character was like a knockoff version of Brendan Fraser. Da 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 da. The horror thing that scared me was Higurashi. I watched that way too young. Higurashi gave me nightmares. I watched that, and that, like, there's a bunch of stuff that I watched too young. Higurashi was absolutely one I watched way too young. And I was like, because, like, I watched stuff that was not age appropriate, but it would go over my head. Like, I watched Mean Girls way too young, and I didn't get the jokes. And I was like, I just didn't like that movie, but I was young and didn't appreciate it. I watched Penny and Stocking too young, but I just didn't get the jokes. I watched Higurashi, and I absolutely understood what happened, and that's why it was really bad. That's why it was really traumatizing. Do. Rockadoodle scared the crap out of me in the 1980s. I personally threw the video cassette tape in the trash. I don't know what that is either. Rockadoodle. I have never seen... Well, actually, I take it back. This chicken looks familiar. I don't think I've ever seen this at all. Interesting. I've never seen that. But now I can overcome this animated movie. That's so fair. Should I talk about predictions for the power-ups if you want to? Sure. I remember how the damn Duke of the Owls scared me every night. Oh, I'll have to look into that one. I was afraid he would come into my room at night and turn me into a cat. And then he eats me in the film. I was like, okay, but turning into a cat's not bad. Getting eaten, that might be a little bit more. That might be a little traumatizing. Dude, you know what movie really messed me up as a kid, and I can't even remember what it is. I could look it up. So there was the Brave Little Toaster original movie, and that was fine. That was normal. Like, that had it, whatever it was doing. Whatever that movie was supposed to be doing, it did. And then there was, like, the Brave Little Toaster 2, and they were in space, and for some reason, that movie just disturbed me. It just disturbed me so much, and I was like, I don't know why, but also, why are they in space? They, like, Brave Little Toaster was, like, knockoff Toy Story. But then, like, they were in space, and I don't know why they were in space, and that, for some reason, that bothered me. I just hope the others get power-ups beside Idol. I don't want her to end up like Cure Heart. I mean, Idol is still a good character. No, that's literally how I feel. Y'all know from the last 2 streams that we had on Sundays. That's precisely how I feel. I cannot, with any measure, stand it when only one gets the power up. But I'm bracing myself for that being the case at this point. I just hope the other ones actually get one. Valid. That's the most valid thing you could possibly want. As a fellow yearner for equality on the team. Mad agree. Big agree. Biggest agreeus. With youest theorist. Da. The new panty and stocking is a bit weird. A scene showing something dirty. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there's a new episode since last I saw it. That show is always borderline in something something terrible. Oh, panty and stocking is such a it's such a weird where it's like it goes between like, is this bad? This is pretty bad. This is a bad happening. But then you're like, it's funny, but you're like, oh, but that was a bad. Panty and Stocking is just such a little conundrum of a show. Though I'm so much scared to watch season one because I think season one is a lot more morally questionable than the newer stuff is. Let's see. Walt Disney's Pinocchio is scarier too in some scenes. Scarier than Snow White, in my opinion. I think I also got spooked by that. I think the whale, anything that happened with the whale on in that movie, I think really freaked me out. I think the donkey scene freaked me out as too. The Brave Little Toaster scared me too. How did I forget? We can all trauma bond over Brave Little Toaster. Oh my god. There were so many. I think the other one that, like, is not actually scary but disturbed me was Chicken Run. Like, the fact that they were constantly trying not to die freaked me out. I'm like, they're gonna kill off all these poor claymation chickens. It freaked me out, too. Though, to be fair, I know that I'm a little wimp. I knew that I was a little wimp and I had some character development and I became a horror movie fan. I kind of miss the TikTok era of quarantine. That's fair. I think there was something special about that time period. A lot of, like, as an introvert, it was a lot of nice bonding for people being like, we're all indoors. And I was like, don't worry, I can teach you how to enjoy it. The indoors are so great. The indoors are fantastic. And you're like, you're bored? Don't worry, girl. There's video games. You will be unbored. Your boredom will go away. Da, 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 da. I got a TikTok around 2020, but I used it in 2021 summer, and I really wanted to cosplay. I've been stuck watching YouTube a lot. That's fair. That's such a, like, quarantine time. Chicken Run is so good, but I was rooting for the chickens to survive, and it has some tense moments. Did they make a sequel for that, or am I, like, hallucinating? Did they not make a Chicken Run sequel at some point? And I just never watched it because they put it on something like Paramount Plus where I would never see it. They, like, locked it away in one of those streaming websites that no one has, like Stars or something. Like, they were like tried to nostalgia stuff, but I was like, there's not enough power for you to nostalgia me onto a platform I don't use. I just, oh my god, so many of these horror movies. Thumbelina I liked in my youth, but now I find it weak. Sorry. I like Thumbelina song with the farm animals and that's all. I just don't remember it. It's been so long. I remember, like, watching Thumbelina, but, like, I've seen clips from it and I'm like, I don't remember none of that happening. There's, like, some movies that I have zero recollection of what occurred in them. And it's just, like, a lost little nugget to time. I never watched The Brave Little Toaster as a kid, but I watched The Secrets of... See, that's one I have not seen. People are like... People swear by The Secret of Nim, and I know nothing about it. Spooked me as a kid, but now I love it. That's what I've heard. Like, that's got, like, a huge cult following. I'm one of the few people who like Troll in Central Park, especially the Brazilian... That title is so familiar, but why do I know nothing about it? We're gonna look it up. We're gonna look it up real quick. Oh, I remember this imagery. This was this one of those ones that kept being done by the people who did, like, what is it? What's the one with the cat? What's the one with the cat? Oliver and Company. I feel like it's that group of people who did this. The style looks similar. That's interesting. Oh, you know another spooky one that got relevant that somebody, like, I saw a random picture from and I felt like the craziest person from knowing where it was from. Somebody put an image to be creepy of one of the characters from James and the Giant Peach and I was like, oh god, that unlocked a memory. I think I witnessed that movie because they kept replaying it so much when I was a kid. But it took me like 18 tries to finally watch that movie all the way through because that scared the absolute crap out of me. Like, kid was part of the worst family ever, and then, like, ends up being in a peach and then changes his art style and then there's a bunch of bugs in there that befriend him and it scared me. That one absolutely creeped me out to the ninth degree. Terrifying. Around middle school, I've been around friends. In 2019 winter, we would talk nonstop about My Hero. That's another classic. That was definitely a quarantine show. I watched The Secret of Nims, so after, but I know that because I watched it in my youth, I would indeed be scared too. Yeah, that's fair. There's some movies that like I watch now and I'm like, I wonder if kids get scared by this. And then I like talk to my niece and she's like, it scared me. And I was like, they do. This do be scaring the kids. I'm trying to remember what it was. There was some movie where I'm like, this is so not spooky, but I wonder if this disturbs the children. I wonder if this is like too much for the kids. Because I know I got so spooked easily in my youth with all these movies. But I wonder nowadays with the modern movies what's spooky or scary to the children where they can't watch it. Because, like, I remember the shark scene in The Little Mermaid scared the crap out of me to the point where I repressed that it happened and I didn't remember it happened until the live action movie came out. Da, 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 da. Oliver and Company I like too. It's a good one. Oh, James and the Giant Peach got that rhino scared me so much when I was a little kid. Ironically, I love rhinos, but the evil rhino was scary, right? It's super scary. I think that rhino and then the last unicorn's bull scared me too. I was like, bulls are terrifying. I watched a knockoff version of Thumbelina. I didn't even know there was that. I found it a bit weird, but I liked it. And the greatest mistake my dad gave me. It's always some parent who like comes back from the store with a random movie. Have you seen Squid Game? I've seen the first season. I have not seen the second. How many seasons are there? Are there 3? Or is it just like the second one's in 2 parts? I watched the first one. That's one where I watched it with my dad because my dad likes action horror kind of stuff, and so I got him to watch Squid Games with me, but he refuses to watch anymore because he said it was too disturbing as a father. And I'm like, don't be a wimp. Watch the rest of it with me. There's certain like horror stuff that I watch with my dad. Like I watched Last of Us because I played the game and I wanted my dad to experience that, and he's like, that one's also too traumatizing as a dad, and I'm like, you need to finish watching it so we can continue. And then I also watched Stranger Things with my dad. He luckily for that one did not say it was too traumatizing. I was like, Dad, you can't be a wimp. You can't be scared of this stuff more than I am. You gotta pull it together. But he's like, bad things happening to children and dad figures being around makes me sad. And I was like, well, I'm not dead. I made it into adulthood. Thank you very much. I didn't die. You did a good job as a dad. Oh my goodness. I do think I know the ending of Squid Game, and I think my dad would be incredibly upset at the end of Squid Game. I think it would majorly depress him. Da, 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 da. I watched TikToks of them making honeycomb and I really want to try it. It looks like a cookie. There's been so many, like, that's the down. Both the blessing and the curse of all these short form videos. It's like, I'm now inspired to do a craft. I'm now inspired to do crafty things. I'm inspired to do things I would have never thought of. But now I'm back on my YouTube kick, so I'm like constantly watching YouTube plant videos. Like everybody else is like, have you watched this? Have you watched that? Do you know this YouTuber? No, I don't know any YouTubers. I know all the plant YouTubers, and they're teaching me how to raise my carnivorous plants. That's all I've been watching. I'm gonna leave this stream and I'm gonna go watch some YouTube videos about carnivorous plants. Oh my goodness. The best part, I love hearing this song Money by Lisa. That is a good song. Do know that song. An animated movie that's so underrated and rarely talked about is The Flight of the Dragons. It has James Earl Jones playing the evil red wizard. Ooh, that'd be fun. The wizard is proving right today. Oh no. Oh no. I heard they're making an American Squid Game. They gotta stop doing that. I think they said they were gonna do an American version of Train to Busan, and I was like, you best not. You best leave that to Korea. You better not try to make a knockoff trashy version of Train to Busan, because any American version of Train to Busan would be garbage. I think the only time there's been an American version of a movie, I'm trying to remember the name of it, because I had a phase where I watched a lot of trashy horror movies. There's one horror movie where they changed the ending. Oh, thank you for becoming a magical. There's some trashy horror movie where it's like one of those random Nordic countries that did the horror movie, and they have a really depressing ending, but they changed the ending that not all the characters died and the woman survived because of like the way that this is gonna get so introspective, and I need to know the name of the movie to fully explain it, but there's like the way that feminism exists in America versus the feminism in that movie and the from the original country differs. So the tone of the way the movie ended would not have the same point between the countries. So they changed it to make more sense in the context of like American feminism. And I was like, okay, okay, that feels like a valid reason to change it. I wish I remembered what movie it was. But also it was a B tier horror movie, so it was not like that big a deal. But I do think there's some points where changing something makes sense, regionally speaking. I think it was one of those movies where people had somebody knock on the door and they're like, "We need to stay in your house tonight," and then I think they changed it a little bit because in America we would just say no, and I think in the European country they would say yes. I think that was part of the reason why. Because if somebody just randomly knocked on my door, I wouldn't even open. I'd be like, "Who is knocking on my door? I don't expect anybody to come." All right. I highly recommend Flight of the Dragon. I will watch that. I'll add that to the list. I highly recommend. Da 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 da. So, so many bad people in greed and ignorance. Destruction is happening nowadays. The wizard Omadon's evil magic is getting stronger because of it. Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. I also heard Friday they're going to release the Demon Slayer movie. I hope I can get it if I can afford it. I think Crunchyroll has bullied me into knowing that knowledge. Crunchyroll is like, "Have you gotten your tickets for the movie?" And I was like, "No, it's not my thing." But thank you for trying to keep me in the loop. I'll pretend like I appreciate that. I will pretend like that was something I wanted. I looked up the knockoff Thumbelina. It was made by Golden Films. Interesting. I really wish Markiplier is going to be in the FNAF movie. I really hope he gets a chance. I feel like him and Matt Pat are like the fathers of like the FNAF community. Because if there's been anything that's kept me interested in FNAF, it's been them over any marketing that the FNAF franchise has actually tried to do. Okay. Okay, let's see. I heard the voice actor of Jax. I'm assuming you're saying Jax for Amazing Digital Circus. The next episode, the episode 7, will be triggering a lot of people. It's sad, and we're only getting 9. I did hear it was ending a lot sooner than I thought. I forget that the glitch production stuff is like really short. Because I think Murder Drones is only 8 episodes long. Like it's pretty truncated stuff at the end of the day. And so, I was surprised that it's coming that way, but I do think that we're getting to the point where it would be, because, like, Jax's story has gotten to the point where we're gonna dive into whatever is his sad tea and backstory, so I imagine it's gonna get triggering. Especially because, like, stuff has been very heavy. Like, stuff has gotten very heavy in that series. So that makes sense. That kind of checks out. The theme is logic and magic in the world. Oh, I like that. Do you have any movie recommendations that you remember watching but you don't remember anything about? Alright, I put recommendation in that sentence and it wasn't there. Do you have any movies that you remember watching but don't remember anything about? There's one movie that I still don't know what this movie was. All I remember was the ending, and the ending really messed me up because I walked into my parents watching it, where it's a live action movie. And I think there's a mythical magical realm. And at the very end of the movie, the kid makes it back to his world and back to his family. But I don't know if his parents suck or something along those lines. But he's like, "Mom and Dad!" And they're like walking up to some weird rock that's sitting on his grill in his yard. And there's like a bunch of police around them for some reason too. And he's like, "Don't touch that!" And then his parents touch it, and I assume they get isekai to whatever world he just came back from. And then the pans out with him staring at his parents having disappeared, and like sirens are around him, and they just slowly zoom out of the neighborhood, and I'm like, what happened in this movie? I just remember that scene, and it's so traumatizing, and I have no clue what occurred. I was so weird. But if anybody knows what in the world that was, let me know. Why can I not draw up here? I'm losing my mind. Draw the line that I have asked you to. Pencil. Do you have any movies? Yeah, okay. I read that. Oh yeah, I love Disney's Great Mouse Detective. Oh, I love the Great Mouse Detective. They did some Brazilian Portuguese fan dubs of for fun as Professor Radigan here on my YouTube channel. Ooh, I'll have to check that out. That's such a classic. I love that one. I'm also concerned about Kane. Yeah, the fact that he can abstract changes everything. I feel like that really changes like what's going on with the circus and who's in control. The fact that their implication is that he is also just a person and not necessarily part of the system. But I also feel like anybody who's abstracted probably isn't gone forever. We just have to figure out what's actually happened to them and where they actually went. But who knows? They'll probably play into the video gaming theme that they're going for. Some Brazilian dubs in Disney movies could have been better, so that's why I wanted to dub some of the scenes with Professor Radigan. Show my friends and families. Oh, that's cool. That's fun. I like that. But I also love like community stuff doing like you get so hyped in it that you start contributing back into the IP you enjoy. I think that's really fun. I heard next year we're having a series of Shadow. I've heard rumors about that. I hope it's true. I know that both Idris Elba and why am I blanking on Mr. John Wick himself? Keanu Reeves have both expressed interest in doing more spin-offs for Sonic, which I think they should. All I know is I need to bully one of my family members into paying for the subscription service because I think that's on Paramount. Let's see. What the fuck, Britney Spears in check? That's a combination. I don't know what the context is, but welcome in, Rosa. Uh, I hope at the end of Digital Circus they actually meet each other in their human lives. That'd be fun. I feel like there's definitely been some trauma bonding they've gone through to better their lives. They all have interesting backstories for each of the characters, which I found kind of fun to dive into that. I've only watched The Great Mouse Detective once, but that was in elementary of summer break. That's been a hot minute. Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, and Aoi Yuki. What is the context of all these celebrities? Did I miss something? Let me know if I missed the beat of what we were talking about. Oh, I'm trying to think of other. There's one other thing that I don't know if it's a movie or not. Oh, my stylus died. We're close to the end of stream. As I let my stylus charge, we wrap up. One other movie, real quick. I don't even know if it was a movie. I was on a cruise, and they were playing a segment of a movie that had just released at the time, and my only context for the vagueness of when this must have come out, or it might have been a TV show, but it's more likely it was a movie. The vagueness of when this came out is it came out at the same time as the fifth Harry Potter movie, because that also was airing when we were on the ship. And there's only one scene I saw from this where there's a girl being chased by three dudes, live action, and they're on a set. Like it's very obviously a set, and it's like a green set, like it's looking like a Teletubbies kind of set. And they're running through it, and she's getting chased, and she like I think she gets away by getting in a ladder and like going above where they are, and they're all chasing her. But one of the people chasing her, like he passes out, and the other guys are like, "Oh no, he's dying." And then that's the end scene. I don't know what that's from. I don't know what was happening, but I don't know what it was for. I like did so much. There was one time where I looked up like every movie that came out around that period of time, and I was like, I don't know what this was, and I have no way of knowing. So if anybody recognizes the scene I have described or the other movie I described, let a girl know. The second one might have been a TV show, but the first one was definitely a movie. But like, girl, I don't know what that was. I don't know what was happening. That was my craziness. Anyways, this is where we're stopping for this. I'll probably finish this off stream, finish coloring it and whatnot. But this is as far as we got. Some Pokemon drawing for the day. Thank you guys for joining me for this very hectic Sunday stream, but we had fun. We had a good time. And it was a good Sunday. Remember when TV seasons were decently long, or roughly around 13 to 26 episodes? I know, everything's just gotten so much shorter. I feel like I grew up in the era where it moved from 50 to 24, and then it got moved down to 12. And now it's like 8. Wild times. Wild times. Nonetheless, thank you guys for a stream. I will see you next time. Bye-bye!